Good morning. It's good to see everyone today. Members will please come to the floor and take your seats. Mr. Clerk, how about I ring the bell? The hour for convening having arrived. All members will please take their seats. We're going to have the morning roll call. All members present will please vote green to signify their presence in the chamber. And Mr. Clerk, will you unlock the machines? Have all members voted? All members voted? If so, Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machines? Doorkeepers, will you please close the doors and keep them closed? As is our custom, we will begin our day with scripture reading and prayer by the chaplain, after which we will pledge allegiance to the flag of our country. Our chaplain this morning will be introduced by the gentleman from the 180th House District, Chairman Stephen Saines. Chairman Saines.
Good morning, my dear friends. It is my honor to introduce today's chaplain of the day, Reverend Donald Belcher, Jr. I first met Pastor Belcher as an 18-year-old new hire at the Kingsland Police Department, where he served as the PIO and Professional Standards Inspector. He quickly became an example for me, not only on the qualities that a law enforcement officer should embrace, but also the attributes that should always stand out, both as a public servant and as a man of God. Sincerity and clarity in communication, honesty in action, and conviction and purpose are just a few of those qualities that he embodies so well. After a successful career with KPD, Reverend Belcher transitioned into full-time ministry in 2019 and founded the River of Life Baptist Church in St. Mary's, Georgia in 2022. His commitment to the gospel of Christ drives his passion for preaching and teaching, and he leads his congregation with a focus on unity and making the Lord known. Married to Rachel for nearly 17 years, they are proud parents of Owen, Emma, Aaron, and Halia. With over 20 years in ministry across Northeast Florida and coastal Georgia, Reverend Belcher brings extensive experience to his role and is currently a doctoral student in theology of Jacksonville Baptist Theological Seminary. Beyond the pulpit, Reverend Belcher served in the U.S. Army Infantry and has dedicated over 2 decades to public safety as a paramedic and as a law enforcement officer. He currently serves as chaplain captain for the Camden County Fire and Rescue Department, offering support and guidance to that fire department. Reverend Belcher embodies dedication to God, country, and community through his diverse role in theology, military service, and public safety. Please help me welcome Reverend Donald Belcher Jr. As a true servant leader and chaplain of the day.
Speaker Burns, Representative Saines, and distinguished assembly members, good morning. I'm honored and grateful for the privilege to be here this morning. Representative Saines, thank you so much for that introduction. I do remember that day when I met Representative Saines, and it was interesting. He was sitting across from our desk as my lieutenant and I were interviewing him and prepping him for a career in law enforcement and getting into law enforcement, of what he thought he was going to get into law enforcement. I remember specifically asking him a question: where do you see yourself in 5 years? Because a lot of times my lieutenant and I would ask that question just to find out what their goals were in life. And he gave a very interesting answer. His answer was, I would like to be in Atlanta serving as a politician. And Mr. Burns, that was definitely different than what we were used to. We were expecting something more like, I see myself as a patrol sergeant and leading my men on the streets, or I see myself as a patrol lieutenant. But God had other plans for his life, and as you know, he's here doing good things for the state of Georgia. This morning, I would like to say thank you so much for allowing me to be here and serving as the chaplain of the day. This is a humbling experience. Thank you for allowing my wife and I to be here, and our children to serve you guys this morning as you start your legislative day. My goal is I pray that the Lord speaks to you through me. I pray that he speaks to you in ways that only he can. And I pray that it's a word of encouragement before you start your day this morning. Proverbs chapter 16, verse 24, the word says, pleasant words are as a honeycomb, sweet to the soul, and health to the bones. And I pray that's exactly what you find in this morning's devotion. Today's reflection, we're going to be in 1 Samuel chapter 17, and if you're not familiar with 1 Samuel 17, it's the account of David and Goliath. And this account conveys a profound lesson for leaders, including those that are involved and engaged in the pursuit of guiding our society through the intricacies of governance. In this passage here in 1 Samuel, it unfolds with the Philistine army. The Philistine army was amassing against Israel, and they were coming against the Israelites, and they had a towering champion named Goliath. And Speaker Burns, his name was Goliath from Gath. Just the name, it strikes fear, or should strike fear in someone's soul as they're standing there. And Goliath was challenging the Israelites, and every morning and every evening he would come out and challenge the Israelites to send forth a champion. And he wanted a champion to come out for a single combat duel. And the Israelites, if you read in 1 Samuel chapter 16, the Israelites faltered in the face of this formidable adversary until a young shepherd boy named David showed up. This young shepherd boy named David showed up to the scene, and things began to change. And you say, well, Pastor, why did things change when David showed up? Because David knew his God, and he took action. The Bible tells us in Daniel chapter 11, verse 32, that the people that do know their God, they shall be strong and do exploits. They'll take action. And here this morning, as leaders in this political arena, I know that you often face and confront challenges and adversaries that at times seem insurmountable. As you're facing these things that happen in life, and you're looking at these votes that come in, and you're looking at legislative issues that come before your desk, and I know that sometimes it seems insurmountable, but here in this passage, although a young and seemingly ill-equipped David shows up, he shows us something here. He shows us that true strength is not found in conventional power, but rather in the unwavering faith and reliance on the Lord our God. As political leaders, I know you frequently navigate the waters of complex issues. And when doing so, it's imperative for you to remember that your strength ultimately comes from a higher authority. Contrary to what we may think at times, but no one that is seated on Capitol Hill, from the governor down, is here under their own authority. Almighty God has placed you where you are. Almighty God has placed you in the seats and the positions and the offices that you hold. No one present is here under their own power, but God has placed you here for such a time as this. See, you've not only been called, you've been chosen. And God has chosen you to seat where you're seated. And David here, as you look in 1 Samuel, the king, he actually had some skepticism here. And he was skeptical with young David because David showed up and he was but a youth. And Saul even told David, he said, you can't go against this giant because this giant is a man of war from his youth. And you're but a kid. You're but a youth yourself. And here David gives an audacious response to King Saul's skepticism. And that should mirror the courage needed in political leadership. He said in 1 Samuel chapter 17, verse 37, the Lord that delivered me out of the paw of the lion and out of the paw of the bear, he will deliver me out of the hand of this Philistine. David knew his God. David was reflecting on times past where God had delivered him from the paw of the bear and from the paw of the lion. This was an unwavering trust in God's faithfulness. It was his trust in God's faithfulness, and that should be a model for political leaders facing the seemingly impossible. Those things that seem to be challenges in your life, whatever that may be, and reminding that past victories, no matter how small the victory, no matter how significant the victory, it's a testament to God's ability to deliver you and to overcome the adversary. Here in this, the book of 1 Samuel chapter 17, this encounter with David and Goliath serves as a comparison between the battle of good and evil. It's the battle between light and darkness. Goliath here is the embodiment of tyranny and oppression, and it represents the daunting challenges that you face as political leaders many times. David, on the other hand, David was armed with faith in God, a sling and 5 stones, but he knew his God and he took action. That exemplifies the transformative power of God's chosen instruments. God's chosen instruments, that's you and I. You are God's chosen people. You are God's chosen instruments to sit where you are to do better things for this state. Move forward, know your God, and take action. As political leaders, I pray this morning that you reflect on this account of David and Goliath, and that you've been called and chosen to embody the principles of wisdom, justice, and moderation. In the face of the societal giants that we have, it's imperative that you draw inspiration from God's Word. Draw your strength from God Almighty and strive to be instruments of positive change in our state. See, if you're not familiar with 1 Samuel chapter 17, here in this account, we see a victory. We see David has a victorious outcome, and the culmination of this account here with David's triumph demonstrates to us that victory is not contingent on our own physical strength. Has nothing to do with us, but on the spiritual fortitude and your reliance on God Almighty to get you through. This account also shows a very significant connection between David as shepherd and deliverer and Jesus Christ. See, Jesus Christ in the New Testament is also often referred as the Good Shepherd, just like David was a shepherd. Like David, Jesus confronted the impossible, relying on divine strength from God the Father. He relied on God's strength to overcome darkness, offering hope and redemption for humanity. As I close this morning, just a warning, Speaker Burns, I'm a Baptist pastor, so we get to say that at least 3 times. So I guess, Speaker says it's already been 2. If Speaker says it's been 2, it's been 2. I got one more. So this morning as I close, that's my last one. The account of David and Goliath offers you political leaders a timeless lesson that faith, courage, and reliance on God Almighty can help turn the tides. It'll turn the tides in your life, and it'll turn the tides against those seemingly insurmountable challenges that you face on a daily basis. These experiences, They should help us to examine our faith and determine whether we have the genuine faith that it takes to please God. I love how A.W. Tozer put it. A.W. Tozer said this: while it looks like things are out of control, behind the scenes there is a God who has not relinquished his authority. My God is the God of the universe. My God has not relinquished his authority. He's not voted in. He don't have to worry about being impeached. He is not kicked off of his throne. He is the king and creator of this universe. Do you know him? Members of the assembly, as you lead with integrity, seek the guidance of God Almighty, because it's then and only then you'll find that true strength comes from Jesus Christ, the ultimate shepherd, savior, and sovereign. Would you stand with me as we pray? Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Heavenly Father, Lord, as this moment here this morning comes to an end for me, Father, I know that it is only the beginning of the day for the legislators before me. God, this morning I humbly bow, Father, in gratitude, Father, for the lasting lessons of your word. Father, I recognize the importance of this passage here in 1 Samuel 17, God, and the profound significance that it has in our lives and for the challenges faced by our political leaders. And Father, I recognize, God, and acknowledge the political arena, God, is sometimes tense and overwhelming with challenges. But Father, I pray that you would grant our leaders the wisdom to emulate David's boldness, God, and have a faith that's rooted in you and reliance on you. Father, like David, instill in our leaders, God, an unwavering trust in your faithfulness. And God, I pray that they would draw strength from past victories in their life, knowing that they are just a testament of your ability to overcome. And Father, as political leaders, God, I pray that they would strive to lead with integrity, God, and that they would be reminded that victory is not contingent upon physical strength, but spiritual fortitude and a reliance on you. Heavenly Father, be with our leaders this morning. Grant them wisdom, knowledge, and fortitude to face those challenges. And it's in the name that is above all names, and that's at the name of Jesus Christ, that I humbly pray. Amen. Would you follow in the Pledge of Allegiance with me? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Brother
Mr.
Don.
Speaker, thank you so
That was
much.
awesome. I wasn't rushing you. Doorkeepers, you may unlock the doors. Members, you can join Brother Don and his family in the South Annie room. We appreciate the Belcher family coming to Atlanta today. You traveled a long way, all the way from down in Camden County. We much appreciate it, and thank you for that inspiring message as well. Thank you. Members, our doctor of the day He's brought to us today by his invitation from Representative Rob Leverett. That's Dr. Allison Payne. Thanks to Dr. Payne for being here. We appreciate you bringing her. Members, if you will give your attention to Chairman Tarvin, the chair of the Committee on Information and Audits. Chairman Tarvin.
Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Information and Audits has read the journal from the previous legislative day and found it to be correct. And just something for everybody to think about today, you will never get ahead of anyone as long as you're trying to get even with them.
I truly believe that. That's profound. I hope the members heard that. I really do. Chairman Tarvin, the chair of the Committee on Information and Audits, reports that the journal of the previous legislative day has been read and found to be correct. Is there any objection to dispense with the reading of the journal? Chair has none. The reading of the journal is dispensed with. Is there any objection to the confirmation of the journal? Chair hears none, and the journal is confirmed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the resolution establishing the order of business for the day?
Representative Administration of the 104th moves following be established as the order of business during the first part of the period unanimous consents. Introduction of bills and resolutions, first reading and reference of House bills and resolutions, second reading of bills and resolutions, reports of standing committees, first reading and reference of Senate bills and resolutions, morning orders.
Is there any objection to adoption of the resolution establishing the order of business for the day? Chair hears none, and the resolution is adopted. First reading of bills and resolutions, the clerk will read.
House Bill 1312 by Representative Jaspers, the 11th, Hagan of the 156th, and McCollum of the 30th. The bill being titled an act to amend an act relating to regulation and taxation of electricity use as a motor fuel.
Technology and infrastructure innovation.
House Bill 1313 by Representative Bernal of the 77th, Bell of the 75th, Douglas of the 78th, Howley the 116th, and Scott of the 76th. Bill be entitled an act to authorize the assessment and collection of eviction mediation program fee.
Intergovernmental coordination.
House Bill 1314 by Representative Roman of the 97th, Gunther of the 8th, Howell of the 50th, Camp of the 135th, and Stoner of the 40th. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 11 and Title 31 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to emergency medical services.
Health.
House Bill 1315 by Representative Williams of the 148th, Meeks of the 178th, Corbett of the 174th, Jones of the 25th, Campbell of the 171st, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Part 1 of Article 2, Chapter 5 of Title 48 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to property tax exemptions.
Ways and Means.
House Bill 1316 by Representative Williams of the 148th. The bill be titled an act to amend an act creating a new charter for the city of Cordell.
Intergovernmental coordination.
House Bill 1317 by Representative Holcomb of the 81st. A bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 6, Title 16 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to sexual offenses.
Judiciary non-civil.
House Bill 1318 by Representative Holcomb of the 81st. A bill be titled an act to amend Title 28 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to the General Assembly.
Governmental affairs.
House Bill 1319 by Representative Clark of the 100th, Hong of the 103rd, Muggle of the 105th, McCollum of the 30th, Reeves of the 99th. Bill be titled an act to amend an act providing a homestead exemption from the city of Beaufort ad valorem taxes.
Intergovernmental coordination.
House Bill 1320 by Representative Clark of the 100th, Hong of the 103rd, Muggle of the 105th, McCollum of the 30th, Reeves of the 99th. Bill be titled an act to amend an act providing a homestead exemption from the City of Beaufort ad valorem taxes.
Intergovernmental coordination.
House Bill 1321 by Representative Bell of the 75th, Holland of the 54th, and Sharper of the 177th. Bill be titled an act to amend Title 44 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to property.
Energy, utilities, and telecommunications.
House Bill 1322 by Representative Cannon of the 172nd, Corbett of the 174th, Rhodes of the 124th, Williams of the 148th, Perkle of the 169th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 23 of Title 2 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to Georgia Hemp Farming Act.
Agriculture and Consumer Affairs.
House Bill 1323 by Representative Scott of the 76th, Bonner of the 73rd, Davis of the 87th, Gladney of the 130th, Tarvin of the 2nd, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Part 2 of Article 15 of Chapter 1 of Title 10 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to the Fair Business Practices Act.
Defense and Veteran Affairs.
House Bill 1324 by Representative Leverett of the 123rd, Estration of the 104th, Williamson of the 112th, Corbett of the 174th, Perkle of the 169th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Part 4 of Article 3 of Chapter 1 of Title 40 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to ride-share network services.
Judiciary.
House Bill 1325 by Representative Blackman of the 146th, Gaines of the 120th, Kelly of the 16th, Oliver of the 82nd, and Crow of the 118th. Bill be titled Act to amend Part 1 of Article 2 of Chapter 5 of Title 48 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to tax exemptions.
Ways and Means.
House Bill 1326 by Representative Stevens of the 164th, Jaspers of the 11th, Hawkins of the 27th, and Cooper of the 45th. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 13 and Title 16 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to controlled substances.
Health.
House Bill 1327 by Representative Seaball of the 34th, Adesanya of the 43rd, Williams of the 37th, and Anulowitz of the 42nd. Bill be titled an act to amend an act creating a system of public schools for the city of Marietta. Yes, sir.
Intergovernmental coordination.
House Bill 1328 by Representative Glaze of the 67th, Parrish of the 142nd, Gladney of the 130th, Barnes of the 86th, Campbell of the 35th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 6 of Chapter 2 and Title 20 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to the Quality Basic Education Act.
Education.
House Bill 1329 by Representative Stevens of the 164th, Kelly the 16th, Neal the 79th, and Williams of the 168th. Bill be titled an act to amend Title 50 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to state government.
That's 29. Economic Development and Tourism.
House Bill 1330 by Representative Stoner of the 40th, Cumming of the 39th, and Ulowitz of the 42nd. Bill be titled an act to amend an act known as the South Cobb Development Authority Act.
Intergovernmental coordination.
House Bill 1331 by Representative Maynard of the 56th, Gullett of the 19th, Reeves of the 99th, and Crow of the 118th. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 1 of Title 17 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to general provisions of criminal procedure.
Judiciary non-civil.
House Bill 1332 by Representative Maynard of the 56th, Newton of the 127th, Hatchett of the 155th, Clark of the 100th, Stinson of the 150th. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 7 of Title 31 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to regulation and construction of hospitals.
Health.
House Bill 1333 by Representative Evans of the 89th, Trenner of the 85th, Davis of the 87th, Roberts of the 52nd, Mitchell of the 88th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Title 35 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to law enforcement officers and agencies.
Public Safety and Homeland Security.
House Bill 1334 by Representative Seaball, the 34th, Crow of the 118th, Kelly the 16th, Hitchens the 161st, Vance of the 133rd. Bill be titled an act to amend Code Section 16, 3, 24.2, and 51.11.9 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to immunity from prosecution.
Judiciary non-civil.
House Bill 1335 by Representative LaHood of the 175th, Rose of the 124th, Williams of the 148th, Gaines of the 120th, and Washburn of the 144th. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 7 of Title 31 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to regulations of hospitals and related institutions.
Public and Community Health.
House Bill 1336 by Representative Smith of the 18th, Mathiak the 74th, Lumsden of the 12th, and Hawkins of the 27th. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 24, Title 33 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to general provisions relative to insurance.
Insurance.
House Bill 1337 by Representative Cumming of the 39th, Stoner of the 40th, Campbell of the 35th, Adesanya of the 43rd, and Anulowitz of the 42nd. Bill be titled an act to authorize the governing authority of the City of Mableton to levy an excise tax.
Intergovernmental Coordination.
House Bill 1340 by Representative Hilton of the 48th, Powell of the 33rd, Ballard of the 147th, Ridley of the 6th, Momtahana of the 17th. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 7A of Title 43 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to practice of applied behavior analysis.
Health.
House Bill 1341 by Representative Saints of the 180th, Deloach of the 167th, Townsend of the 179th, Stevens of the 164th, Petrie of the 166th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 3, Chapter 3, Title 50 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to other state symbols.
Special rules.
House Bill 1342 by Representative Lim of the 98th, Hawkins of the 27th, McLean of the 109th, and Maynard of the 56th. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 7 of Chapter 12 of Title 44 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to the protection of American Indian human remains.
State Planning and Community Affairs.
House Bill 1343 by Representative Lim of the 98th, Stevens of the 164th, and Buckner of the 137th. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 7, Chapter 4, Title 49 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to medical assistance generally.
Public and Community Health.
House Bill 1344 by Representative Dempsey of the 13th, Cooper of the 45th, Hawkins of the 27th, Anulowitz of the 42nd, and Silcox of the 53rd. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 2, Title 37 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to general provisions relative to the administration of mental health.
Public and Community Health.
House Bill 1345 by Representative Bell of the 75th, Clark of the 108th, Holly of the 116th, Holland of the 54th, and Scott of the 76th. Bill be titled an act to amend Code Section 35.8.7 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to powers and duties of the Georgia Peace Officer Standards and Training Council.
Public Safety and Homeland Security. Mr. Clerk, suspend for a second. I hope I get y'all's bills in the right committee. If I don't, it's y'all's fault, not mine, because I can't hear what the clerk's saying. So you're traveling at your own risk. Mr. Clerk, proceed, please.
House Resolution 1164 by Representative Hughley of the 141st, Smith of the 138th, Buckner of the 137th, Reese of the 140th, and Jaspers of the 11th, and others. A resolution honoring the life of the Honorable Richard H. Smith and dedicating an interchange in his memory.
Thank you, members. Transportation.
House Resolution 1165 by Representative Smith of the 18th, Carpenter of the 4th, Scoggins of the 14th, Jaspers of the 11th, Collins of the 71st. A resolution proposing an amendment to the Constitution so as to provide for the qualifications, duty, and salary of the school superintendent.
Education.
House Resolution 1166 by Representative Meeks of the 178th, Houston of the 170th, Dickey of the 145th, Williams of the 148th, Campbell of the 171st. A resolution creating the House Study Committee on the exchange, storage, and bond coverage of agricultural products.
Agriculture and Consumer Affairs.
House Resolution 1167 by Representative Mitchell of the 88th and Campbell of the 35th. A resolution to ratify an amendment to the United States Constitution.
Judiciary.
House Resolution 1168 by Representative Hutchinson of the 106th, Fry of the 122nd, McLean of the 109th, Holly of the 116th, and Alexander of the 66th. A resolution proposing an amendment to the Constitution of the State of Georgia.
Judiciary non-civil.
House Resolution 1169 by Representative Hutchinson of the 106th, Beverly of the 143rd, Park of the 107th, Prince of the 132nd, Fry of the 122nd, and others. A resolution creating the House Study Committee on Economic Advantages of Marijuana Legalization.
Agriculture and Consumer Affairs.
Senate Bill 232 by Senator Kennedy, the 18th, Tillery, the 19th, Gooch, the 51st, Strickland of the 17th. Bill be titled an act to amend Title 15 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to courts.
Judiciary.
Senate Bill 360 by Senator Hickman of the 4th, Dixon of the 45th, Kennedy of the 18th, Gooch of the 51st, Anderson of the 24th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Code Section 22-260 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to capital outlay funds in elementary and secondary education.
Education.
Senate Bill 370 by Senator Hodges of the 3rd, Watson of the 1st, Albers of the 56th, Hatchett of the 50th, Kirkpatrick of the 32nd. Bill be titled an act to amend Code Section 16-547 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating posting model notices with human trafficking hotline information.
Regulated industries.
Senate Bill 374 by Senator Walker of the 20th, Strickland of the 17th, Ginn of the 47th, Halpern of the 39th, Anna DeVart of the 31st, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 15 and Title 43 of the official code of Georgia annotated the Professional Engineers and Land Surveyors Act of 2021.
Regulated industries.
Senate Bill 449 by Senator Walker of the 20th, Kennedy of the 18th, Anna DeVart of the 31st, Gooch of the 51st, Payne of the 54th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Code Section 31-7-12.8 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to certification as nursing aid and employer-sponsored training.
Regulated industries.
That completes first readers.
Second reading of bills and resolutions. The clerk will read.
House Bill 1294 by Representative Perkle of the 169th, Green of the 154th, Werkheiser of the 157th, a bill relating to the Georgia Environmental Finance Authority. House Bill 1295 by Representative Perkle of the 169th, Jones of the 25th, Corbett of the 174th, Williams of the 148th, a bill relating to horns, exhaust systems, mirrors, windshields, tires, safety belts, and energy absorption systems. House Bill 1296 by Representative Hilton of the 48th, Ballinger of the 23rd, New of the 64th, Sains of the 180th, Montana of the 17th, and others, a bill relating to online internet safety. House Bill 1297 by Representative Thomas of the 21st, Clark of the 100th, Bonner of the 73rd, Barrett of the 24th, Ridley of the 22nd, and others, a bill relating to state and other flags. House Bill 1298 by Representative LaHood of the 175th, Burchett of the 176th, Williams of the 148th, a bill to authorize the assessment and collection of a technology fee by the probate court of Brooks County. House Bill 1299 by Representative Reese of the 140th, Green of the 154th, Maynard of the 56th, Olalier of the 59th, Buckner of the 137th, a bill relating to recording of relative to property. House Bill 1300 by Representative Prince of the 132nd, a bill relating to certification of assessed taxable value of property and method of computation. House Bill 1301 by Representative Mathiak of the 74th, Camp of the 135th, Hawkins of the 27th, Bennett of the 94th. A bill relating to control of hazardous conditions, preventable disease, and metabolic disorders. House Bill 1302 by Representative Bennett of the 94th, Hawkins of the 27th, New of the 64th, Oliver of the 82nd, Hughley of the 141st, and others. A bill relating to medical assistance. House Bill 1304 by Representative Clark of the 108th, Hawley of the 116th. A bill relating to procedure for voting by absentee ballot and advance voting. House Bill 1305 by Representative Clark of the 108th. A bill relating to primaries and elections. House Bill 1306 by Representative Clark of the 108th and Sharper of the 177th. A bill relating to regulation of controlled substance and student health in elementary and secondary education. House Bill 1307 by Representative Hawley of the 116th, Olalier of the 59th, Douglas of the 78th, Reese of the 140th, Bruce of the 61st. A bill relating to conditions of detention. House Bill 1308 by Representative Hawley of the 116th, Bell of the 75th, Hutchinson of the 106th, Glaze of the 67th, Park of the 107th. A bill relating to regulation of specialized land transactions. House Bill 1309 by Representative Clark of the 108th, Bell of the 75th, Willis of the 55th, Barnes of the 86th. A bill relating to admissibility of photographs, motion pictures, video recordings, and audio recordings when witness unavailable. House Bill 1310 by Representative Moore of the 91st, a bill relating to health. House Bill 1311 by Representative Moore of the 91st and Cummings of the 39th, a bill relating to dating violence protective orders. House Bill 1338 by Representative Corbett of the 174th, Meeks of the 178th, Cannon of the 172nd, Townsend of the 179th, Smith of the 70th, and others, a bill to amend the Georgia Surface Mining Act of 1968. House Bill 1339 by Representative Parrish of the 158th, Burns of the 159th, Hawkins of the 27th, Beverly of the 143rd, Taylor of the 173rd, a bill relating to health. House Resolution 1154 by Representative Gamble of the 15th and Scoggins of the 14th, a resolution honoring the life of Mr. Gene R. Tilley and dedicating a road in his memory. House Resolution 1155 by Representative Alexander of the 66th, Bruce of the 61st, Thomas of the 65th, and New of the 64th, a resolution honoring Mr. Scott Hudson and dedicating an intersection in his memory. House Resolution 1162 by Representative Stinson of the 150th, Estration of the 104th, Burchett of the 176th, Carson of the 46th, Camp of the 135th, and others, a resolution honoring the life of Mr. Michael Anthony Woodall and dedicating an intersection in his memory. House Resolution 1163 by Representative Moore of the 91st, a resolution proposing amendment to the Constitution so as to provide that revenue derived from the regulation of safe drinking water and toxic enforcement may be dedicated for certain purposes and not deposited into the general fund. Senate Bill 212 by Senator Burns of the 23rd, Gooch of the 51st, Anderson of the 24th, Summers of the 13th, Hickman of the 4th, and others, a bill relating to probate courts. Senate Bill 322 by Senator Walker III of the 20th, Gooch of the 51st, Anavarte of the 31st, Albers of the 56th, Summers of the 13th, a bill relating to the Sheriff's Retirement Fund of Georgia. Senate Bill 341 by Senator Kirkpatrick of the 32nd, Dolezal of the 27th, Brass of the 28th, Anavarte of the 31st, Robertson of the 29th, and others, a bill to amend various titles of the Official Code of Georgia annotated. Senate Bill 436 by Senator Watson of the 11th, Goodman of the 8th, Anderson of the 24th, Walker of the 3rd of the 20th, Gann of the 47th, and others, a bill relating to operation of farm-use vehicles. Senate Bill 448 by Senator Hatchett of the 50th, Strickland of the 17th, Kennedy of the 18th, Gooch of the 51st, a bill to amend the Official Code of Georgia annotated so as to revise, modernize, correct errors or omissions in. Senate Bill 467 by Senator Williams of the 25th, a bill to create a Board of Elections and Registration for Baldwin County. Senate Bill 468 by Senator Williams of the 25th, a bill to amend an act creating the Board of Commissioners of Baldwin County, through second readers.
Reports of standing committees, the clerk will read.
Representative Robert Dickey, the 145th District Chairman of the Committee on Agriculture and Consumer Affairs, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Agriculture and Consumer Affairs has had under its consideration the following bills of the House and the Senate. It's instructed me to report the same back to the House with the following recommendations. House Bill 1127 do pass. House Bill 1237 do pass. Senate Bill 410 do pass by committee substitute. Respectfully submitted, Representative Robert Dickey, of the 145th District Chairman. Representative Don Parsons, the 44th District Chairman of the Committee on Energy, Utilities, and Telecommunications, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Energy, Utilities, and Telecommunications has had under its consideration the following bills of the House. It's instructed me to report the same back to the House with the following recommendation. House Bill 1220 do pass by committee substitute. Respectfully submitted, Representative Don Parsons, the 44th District Chairman. Representative Hawkins, the 27th District Chairman of the Committee on Health, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Health has had under its consideration following bills and resolutions of the House. It's instructed me to report same back to the House with the following recommendation. House Bill 1264 do pass. House Resolution 1133 do pass. House Bill 441 do pass by substitute. Respectfully submitted, Representative Hawkins, the 27th District Chairman. Representative Gunner, the 8th District Chairman of the Committee on Judiciary, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Judiciary has had under its consideration following bills and resolutions of the House and instructed me to report the same back to the House with the following recommendations. House Bill 910 to pass by committee substitute. House Bill 1218 to pass by committee substitute. House Bill 1240 to pass by committee substitute. House Bill 1247 to pass by committee substitute. House Bill 1251 do pass. House Bill 1267 do pass. House Resolution 598 do pass by committee substitute. House Resolution 1042 do pass by committee substitute. Respectfully submitted, Representative Gunner of the 8th District Chairman. Representative Carson of the 46th District Chairman of the Committee on Retirement submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Retirement has had under its consideration the following bills of the House. Instructed me to report same back to the House with the following recommendation. House Bill 481 do pass by committee substitute. Respectfully submitted, Representative Carson, the 46th District Chairman. That completes the reading of the reports of standing committees.
Members, if you will please take your seats. We will move on to morning orders. Members will please take seats. Representative Williams, we have a whole slew of morning orders. We do. Okay, members, here's our posture. You will have 1 minute before the red light comes on to be very respectful, because we have some very important morning orders this morning. We want to show respect. Chairman Hatchett, if you'll be making your way to the well. And Chairman Newton, you'll be next. The gentleman from Lawrence County, Dublin, Georgia, Chairman Matt Hatchett, is recognized for a morning order. Please give the gentleman your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, it brings me great honor and joy to welcome a group here from Dublin this morning. 59 years ago, the Dublin Lawrence St. Patrick's Festival began, and it has continued on every year for over a month there in March to celebrate St. Patrick's Day, and it's been run by a volunteer organization. And the coordinating committee, organizing committee, part of them are here, and if y'all will stand, let's welcome them to the House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Savannah's got nothing on y'all. Welcome to the House. We appreciate what y'all have done over the years. Chairman Newton, recognized for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise with many of the Great Augusta delegation to acknowledge and welcome Leadership Augusta here to the House today. It was established in 1980. It's a branch of the, it was affiliated with the Metro Chamber of Commerce, Augusta Metro Chamber of Commerce, which, by the way, are the ones who donated the hats that you found on all your desks today. Just as a reminder that in addition to Dublin and Savannah, Augusta's out there doing great work for the state. This organization, Leadership Augusta, has worked for decades, engaging civic leaders, emerging leaders to do more and more to make our state and our area more prosperous. And I want to welcome Chairman Stephen King, Co-Chairman Al Dallas, and Government Day Chairman Ryan Mahoney, and the entire class of Leadership Augusta. Thank you for being here today. If y'all will stand up and let us welcome you. Thank you all for being here today. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Welcome to the People's House. Good to have y'all. Representative Becky Evans, recognized for a morning order. And friends.
Yes. Yeah. Excuse me.
You're recognized.
Okay, you gotta go. You gotta go.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Good morning, colleagues. Today, I would like to honor the life and legacy of service of Dr. Amy Wald St. Pierre and those who carry on her life works. Just 38 years of age, Amy died in gunfire while at a doctor's appointment during her lunch break. You may recall the horrific shooting that occurred at Northside Medical Midtown on May 3rd, 2023, when a troubled young man who had no business owning a gun shot Amy and four other patients in the waiting room. Amy was one of a kind and took far less in life than she gave. Her contributions to her family and community are many, and in having spoken with Amy's dear friend and colleague, I believe that Amy would not wish for those who knew and loved her to dwell on the good work she did, but to direct their attention to the work that remains to be done, the work that she's passionate about and committed to, that we can continue in her honor. Her life work to prevent maternal mortality that we can carry out in amplifying her voice, her honor, and in her absence. I'd like to ask for a moment of silence to honor the life of Dr. Amy St. Pierre. And colleagues, I'd also like to honor, I'm pleased that her good friend, Dr. Julie Zaharatos, and her sister-in-law, Dr. Tori Wald, are up in that balcony, along with other, on Moms Demand Action Day, we especially welcome them here today. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well.
Thank you, Representative. Welcome to the People's House. Sorry for your loss. Representative Lisa Campbell, Chairman Mitchell, Chairman Billy Mitchell, recognized for a morning order, Chairman Billy Mitchell. Representative Campbell.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I am going to ceding the microphone to outstanding Representative Campbell.
Thank you, Chairman Mitchell. Thank you, Representative Hughley. Thank you, Speaker. Colleagues, today I'm so excited to be a co-host for Georgia's ERA Day. ERA is the Equal Rights Amendment Day, and we're very excited to have members from Georgia's National Organization of Women here today. Today, I am making this tribute to my mother, Gail, who has been a lifelong supporter of equal rights and who has chosen equal. She turns 81 this year. You'll all have purple flowers on your desk today in the spirit of equality. You may not know, but the Equal Rights Amendment was started, this movement, more than 100 years ago as a bipartisan effort. And I welcome everyone today. Let's get that band back together. This is not a battle of the sexes. This is not men versus women or Democrats versus Republicans. This is the cause to advance equal rights and indiscrimination on account of sex. I'd like for everyone today to recognize the president of Georgia's National Organization of Women. And this is President Triana Arnold James. We also have guests here today from the Equal Means Equal Organization, the League of Women Voters, and many others. Please join us. We'll be here all day and a press conference at 4 o'clock. Let's finally pass the Equal Rights Amendment in Georgia and in the United States. Thank you.
Thank you. Representatives Gladney and Representative Howard, recognized for a morning order. And Representative Frazier.
Representative Newton, Representative Prince. Happy Augusta Day. Today we have representatives and success stories visiting us from the institution in the namesake of the world-renowned, talented Augusta native Jesse Norman. Are you standing in the house? So on your desk today, you should have a flyer, Ms. Koch. You should have a flyer. I myself have been a supporter and a volunteer since my 22-year-old son was a 5th grader and he was accepted into this program. This flagship facility is located in the heart of Representative Howard's district. And the director is Director Gary Dennis, but they are getting ready to launch a brand new program right here in Atlanta. And visiting us in the galley is Ms. Koch, who is the project lead, and it will be called JNSA 2. So this program is an award-winning fine arts STEM-based program. So if you have any questions about it, please feel free to join it. Ms. Felina Martin and Ms. Tayana Damon, are you here? They are students and success stories of the program. Please feel free to stop by my office. They have their inaugural paintings. They will be on display in my office. Thank you so much.
I'll refresh your memories. For the remainder of the morning order is 1 minute's going to mean 1 minute. Try me. Pro Tem Jones, Representative Hilton. I think Representative Hilton's going to go first.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We are honored to represent our charter school community here today. Charter schools are tuition-free public schools that serve all 159 counties here in the state of Georgia. 65,000 students, over 14,000 on the wait list. Thank you to our charter schools.
Thank you, Representative Hilton. I also want to do a special shout out and thank you to Tony Roberts, who has admirably and in every way represented the charter school community and the interest of students all over the state. For 17 years, he is taking a well-deserved retirement. You will never be replaced, Tony. It's been my honor and joy to work with you for 17 years, and best of luck, and I look forward to seeing you on the other side of retirement, just as friends, not as colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony, for your service. We appreciate you. Thank you all for being here. Representative Hilton, I'd get my tongue tied if I tried to talk that fast. I can assure you of that. Good job. Representative McLean, recognized for a morning order. Give the gentleman in the well your attention, please. Representative McLean.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We'd like to welcome in the House today the Georgia State Council of Machinists. I know they're in the stands, in the gallery. So please give them a hand. These workers, they work not only for the International Paper, the military facilities in Georgia, Pet Milk, and as we all know, Lockheed Martin. They are here from all over Georgia, so please say hello to them and welcome them. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Welcome to the People's House. Thank you, Representative. Representative Marion, you're recognized for morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning. Buenos días a todos. I'm rise today to recognize a friend for many years, Mr. Tony Guerrero. Through the arts, he found himself in the middle of a vibrant, growing Hispanic community in the late 90s. And by the year 2004, he had accomplished the beginning of a long-lasting career as an actor and voiceover talent. His career has been an inspiration for many younger generations of Hispanic, and he's a role model who allows others to achieve greatness in their careers and throughout contributions to their own community. He has participated in more than 300 TV spots, short films, 31 feature films, and his voice can be heard in many national brand commercials. In 22, he was given 50 Most Influential Latinos Awards by the Georgia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Tony Guerrero, my friend, persistent, focus, and dedication are the keys to any successful career. And his numerous accomplishments should be acknowledged. Please rise and recognize Tony Guerrero. He's on the stand today. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative. Welcome, Tony. Good to have you. Congratulations. Good. Thanks for being here. Representative Al Williams and Chairman DeLoach recognized for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm glad I said most of this before I got up here. But we have with us today from the land where the water tastes like cherry wine, Liberty County. The Youth Commission is here with us, and their leadership, Commissioner Justin Frazier, who happens to be my godson, Joseph Mosley, Rhonda Walthour, Teresa Rapella, and Larry Murray Jr. Will you all stand? Let them see the finest group of young people in Georgia. Their task is to learn leadership early and do the work of the commissioners. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, and welcome to our friends from Liberty County down in Southeast Georgia. Welcome, youth group. We're glad to have y'all. Representative Townsend, Chairman Saines, and Chairman DeLoach recognized for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's my honor and Buddy's and Stephen's honor to mention that this year marks the 100th anniversary of the FJ Tourist Causeway, the only vehicular access on St. Simon's Island. So I know everybody here loves to go to St. Simon's and couldn't get there without the causeway. This causeway has benefited many thousands from the community and beyond for over a century now. A group of community leaders standing up now, led by Michael Torres, who is the, I believe, the great-grandson of the original, of the F.J. Torres himself, here today with Darren Peach and Regina McDuffie and everybody else from the city of Brunswick and Glenn County. They're here today to specially recognize this special occasion of 100 years of the Torres Causeway. Again, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Michael and family.
Great recognition. Thanks. Representative Townsend, appreciate you doing that. Good to have y'all with us. Chairman LaHood is recognized for a morning order. Chairman LaHood.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. I'm honored today to welcome the Georgia Senior Living Association to the Capitol, and they are here to represent the over 43,000 older adults that they serve around the state, and we've got lunch for you in room 133, the first floor of the Capitol. So if you're able to come by and grab lunch, do that. And thank you. We got some of them standing here, and some are over in the Senate. But thank you, Georgia Senior Living Association, and welcome to the Capitol.
Good to see y'all. Thank y'all for being here, and thank you for what you do. Thank you for what y'all do. Chairman Wiedauer. Let's see, we have Chairman Wiedauer, Taylor, Hawkins, Dubnik, Gamble, and Gaines. Representatives all. They're recognized for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, I rise today. You guys obliged me with a young person that I'm related to, came yesterday and shadowed the Speaker. That was for Georgia Youth Assembly, and today is Georgia Youth Assembly Day at the Capitol. And up in the gallery today, we have more that have joined us. The Youth Governor, Mary Louise Timchuk. Lieutenant Governor, Andre Williams, please stand. Speaker of the House, Kennedy Wiedauer. State President, Alicia Deutsch. Y'all give them a round of hand.
That's your daughter, I bet. Congratulations.
In the fall, they get to come down here and give us some good ideas for good legislation so that we can take on to the next year. It's a great program to support. Please keep them in mind. You might get a letter of requesting some support of their program later in the year. But thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the will.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, Speaker Wiedauer, you're the 80th speaker, and is this the 80th year of the program? 75th. So some speakers didn't make it long. 80th speaker, but 75th year. Thank y'all for being here. Thanks for answering my question. Chairman Parrish is recognized for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We've got a lot of special guests in the gallery today, and we have some from Metter-Candler County, and they're with us, and we'd like to recognize them at this time. If y'all will stand, this is the Candler County Youth Leadership. Please join me in welcoming them to the Capitol.
Mr. Chairman, you said things are better in Metter, didn't you? That's what I'm talking about. Welcome, y'all. Good to have you. Representative Anderson and Chairman Irwin recognized for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, today we would like to welcome a contingency from Habersham County today. We've got the Habersham Chamber Group and the Leadership Habersham. We have a few resilient members of the group here still with us today. If y'all would stand and be recognized by the Chamber. The group is much larger than this, but they're scattered all over the Capitol today. So I'd like to welcome them to the People's House. Thank you.
Thank y'all for sticking with us. We're glad to have y'all. It's important you come down and make your presence known, so thanks for being here today. Representative Shay Roberts is recognized for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We honored Amy St. Pierre just a little bit ago, but our friends from Moms Demand Action had not made it into the gallery yet. So I just wanted to acknowledge the red shirts are in the house. This should be a bipartisan issue, the number one killer of our kids. I hope you'll take an opportunity to talk to them so that we can find some common ground. Thank you. Please stand. Please stand. Yeah.
Good to have y'all. Thank you, Representative Roberts. Welcome to the People's House. Members, that completes our morning orders. We're moving on to the rules calendar. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 896?
House Bill 896 by Representative New with the 64th and others to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 5 of Title 19 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to divorce so as to provide for a process by which individuals may change their married surname to a prior surname. This bill having referred to the Committee on Judiciary, that committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Representative New is recognized to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And good morning, colleagues. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you about HB 896. You should have found this flyer on your desk. It explains what's going on. I think a lot of us didn't know this was going on, but this bill will streamline the process for individuals who, after a divorce is final, did not change their name back to their maiden name or birth certificate last name. And it will cut the cost, it will cut the time because you will not have to run an ad and all the paperwork that goes with it. And these people just want to get their identity back. Currently, to get your maiden name back, first you go to Superior Court, you pay the fee. In my county, it's $250. You run an ad in the paper for 4 weeks. Then you, for an additional fee, you go back to Superior Court, bring the documentation with you, then wait for the judge to hold a hearing, and then he'll sign off. I had a friend, it was almost $500, took her over 8 months to get this done, to go back to her maiden name, a name she's always been associated with. This bill will allow you to go back to the Superior Court, change your name, you'll fill out the petition, they'll charge a nominal fee, there'll be no publication required, and the judge will be able to, with or without a hearing, restore a person's last name to their birth certificate name. It's cheaper, it's a fast turnaround, there's no ad required, and it updates an outdated law. If there are no questions, I will ask for your favorable consideration on this bill.
The lady does have a couple of questions. Will you yield?
I will yield.
To your left, Representative Mary Frances Williams has a question. Representative Williams.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentlelady yield?
I yield.
Thank you so much for bringing this bill. It's one issue of many where court procedures just make it difficult to take care of some issues that just come up in life that shouldn't have to be handled with a lot of time and money and going to court. And I didn't change when I got divorced, I did not change my back to my maiden name because my boys asked me not to. But I was given that option by the Superior Court judge, but I can't imagine having to go through all the hoops that you mentioned if I had wanted to. So thank you so much for bringing this.
Thank you.
Isn't that not true?
The lady knows of what she speaks.
To your left, Representative Hughley has a question. Representative Hughley.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentle lady yield?
I yield.
Isn't it true that on this day that we're celebrating ERA, I appreciate the fact that you're bringing this bill and you're wearing the purple so that women can have the right to go back to the good name that their daddies gave them?
There are no consequences, are there? No coincidences, I should say, not
The
consequences.
lady knows of what she speaks. That's right.
I had to help you on that one.
Thank you,
that
sir.
jumped in on there. You have
I'll take all
you
the
have
help I can
another one
get.
if you don't mind.
I'll yield.
To your left, Representative Park Cannon has a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Do you yield?
I yield.
What do our neighboring states do as it relates to this issue?
That is a great question. I am not sure, but I can find out the answer and get it to you.
Representative Gladney, to your left, also has a question. Kind of in the back, towards the back.
Does the gentlelady yield?
I yield.
Thank you very much for bringing this legislation. Does this also apply to a concealed weapons permit? Would it automatically change the last name?
I didn't hear the first part. Say that again.
Does it also apply to a concealed weapons permit? Will it also change on that legal permit as well?
This is just to go back to your surname from a divorce. So I'm not sure where that lies, but it's not part of this bill at this time. But it could be continued to next year.
Thank you very much. I'd be more than happy to work with you on that.
Sounds good.
Should
Thank
you
you.
choose to do so. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sir,
True.
I yield the well.
The lady has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee's substitute? The chair hears none. The committee's substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? All members. All members have voted. I think all members have voted. For what purpose does Chairman Collins rise?
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Speaker.
State your inquiry.
Has it always, is it not true this always cost me a lot of money when an ex-wife went back to a maiden name?
The gentleman so states. Sounds like he has some experience there. For what purpose does Representative Sharper rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Is it true that we should allow people to keep their name while they're married for 5 years before they change their name?
I'm not sure about that. I don't think I'm getting involved in that one. That sounds personal. So with that, Mr. Clerk, I think all members have voted. All members have voted, so the clerk will lock the machine on the passage of House Bill 896. The yeas are 167. The nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 904? House Bill 904.
House Bill 904 by Representative Vance to the 133rd and others to be entitled an act.
Proceed.
To be entitled an act to amend Titles 8, 10, 36, 43, and 46 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to buildings and housings, commerce and trade, local government, professions, and businesses. This bill has been referred to the Committee on Regulated Industries. That committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Representative Ken Vance, a gentleman from Milledgeville, is recognized to present the bill. Members, please give the member in the well your attention. Thank you. Proceed, Representative.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Fellow legislators, I present to you House Bill 904, the absolute unsexiest bill you will vote on this session. It has to do, let me give you just a minute's worth of history. Back in the 80s, the plumbers, electricians, HVAC people, low voltage electricians, and utility contractors were all separated. And in the 80s, they were all put into one bowl for licensing purposes. Each of them had their own rules. They did not coordinate them. They just put them all together, which is what has been operated on since the late 80s. I have with you today something that's taken me a little over a year to do, and that's putting all these together in a reasonable form to add some clarity to this law. 8% of the text changes are to correct grammar, reorganize the document structure, and as I said, add clarity. It updates a few items such as names like changing from consultant engineer to professional engineer. It expands the qualifications of electrical inspectors that can serve on the electrical contractors board from the sole person titled Chief Electrical Inspectors. It defines who is qualified to install medical gas in your hospitals. It better defines what constitutes advertising and the qualifications of who can provide these contract services. It addresses the changes in advertising technology to include social media. It changes continuing education from a maximum of 4 annual hours to a minimum of 4 annual hours that can be done online. And it adds a grace period to find and replace the company's licensed agent, which each company has to have in case of death. It changes that to 60 days. So if people are working on a job, then they have 60 days to get those license holders in order. It may be a family member, it may be someone who already has those licenses in place in order for that business to continue. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I'll be glad to answer any questions, and I humbly ask your support.
The gentleman has no questions.
I yield the will, Mr. Speaker.
That's a very thorough and comprehensive bill, and you were right, it's not sexy, so we'll move on. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there an objection to adopting the committee's substitute? Chair hears none, and the committee's substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? For what purpose does Representative Kelly rise?
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Speaker.
State your inquiry.
Mr. Speaker, after that explanation, is it apparent to you, as it is to me, that the former colonel of the State Patrol has been directing the former executive director of Post on how to present a piece of legislation?
It's pretty clear to me, but I wasn't going there. I'm having to live with both of them, so good luck to you. He's right behind you. Yes, sir. Have all members voted? If so, Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machine? On the passage of House Bill 904, the yeas are 168, the nay is 1. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 1077, 1077?
House Bill 1077 by Representative Cooper, the 45th, and others, to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 10 and Title 49 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to the Georgia Board of Health Care Workforce, so as to create a grant program to provide funding to eligible institutions for additional behavioral health workforce training positions. This bill having been referred to the Committee on Public and Community Health, that committee recommends this bill do pass.
Chair Lady Sharon Cooper is recognized to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the House. I rise today to bring you House Bill 1077. Just like I always say, hospitals do not treat patients, doctors treat patients, and the same goes for the people that treat mental illness. And we are desperately short of individuals that are qualified to treat the mentally ill people across our state. And just like we have had programs to help physicians repay their student loans, that is what House Bill 1077 does. It has got a list of people, psychologists, social worker, clinical professional counselors, marriage and family therapists, and others that the board might decide that are desirable and needed to treat mentally ill patients across our state would be eligible as they do their year of internship in a qualified and certified program. These programs don't just require a college degree, then there are various years of internship with each one of them. So basically, what it does is that while they're in those programs, they can apply for loan repayment. The best part of the bill is that as they treat Medicaid patients, there's a big incentive for them to take them. It's one of our problems that we have is across our state, there are not people to treat patients that have insurance, and there are certainly less people to treat people that are on Medicaid. So if they will agree to take Medicaid patients, there's an incentive for it to get more money to pay off their loans. And the more Medicaid patients they take, the more the reimbursement they get to pay off their loans. And that will help us because especially our Medicaid population in rural areas is very high. And so if they will work with these patients, that will be a very big plus for our state and for citizens of Georgia. Mr. Speaker, that is the bill. I would ask for your favorable consideration. And if there are no questions on House Bill 1077, and if there are no questions, I'll yield the well.
You have a couple of questions, or?
I'll take one or two, Mr. Speaker.
To your left, Representative Kennard has a question.
Okay.
Does the lady yield?
Yes, I will.
Hypothetically, if there's someone who's getting their master's in social work and they go work for one of our CSBs, will they qualify for this repayment plan?
As they are filling the requirements for their internship, yes, they would.
Thank you.
I'll take one more question, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, Chair Lady Dempsey has a question to your, yes.
Does
I
the
will
lady
yield.
yield? Thank you so much. So, is it not true that in our Georgia, the number of reports involving symptoms of anxiety or depressive order are at a higher rate currently than the national average?
The lady knows of what she speaks. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I yield well and once again ask for favorable consideration of House Bill 1077.
The lady has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? For what purpose does Representative Byrd rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Is it not true this is a Bernie Sanders-like plan to pay off student loans in order for the government to influence the free market?
I'm not sure about that, but I'm sure the lady has a strong opinion. For what purpose does Representative Burchett rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Mr. Speaker, is it not true that suicide is the second leading cause of death among people 10 to 14, ages of 10 to 14, and this bill will help to rectify that issue we have here?
I'm sure the gentleman knows what he speaks. I'm sure he does. For what purpose does Chairman Leverett rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Mr. Speaker, is it not true that 1 in 5 adults, probably including Bernie Sanders, experience mental illness?
Since you mentioned it, I'm sure the gentleman knows of what he speaks. Have all members voted? All members voted. Good choice. If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the passage of House Bill 1077, the yeas are 165, the nays are 2. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 1072, 1072?
House Bill 1072 by Representative Cooper, the 45th, and others to be entitled an act to amend Article 10 of Chapter 8 of Title 31 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to the Drug Repository Program, so as revised definitions. This bill having been referred to the Committee on Health, that committee recommends that this bill do pass.
You were just up there, were you not? Let's see how you do on this one. Chair Lady Sharon Cooper is recognized to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, you've heard me talk about this before, but once again, I want I know how many members were here in 2017. Raise your hands. How many? Okay, not that many. So for you, those of you, I want to give a special thank you. And for new members in anticipation of your positive vote on this bill, I want to say thank you. This is about the special pharmacy that we have in Georgia called goodpill.org. It reclaims medications that were going to be destroyed and then redistributes those to people in need across our state at a very minute cost. Since 2017, listen up, they have filled 796,000 prescriptions that would have cost $64 million. And they have given those to people in need across our state at about a $6 a prescription for a 90-day prescription fill. So $6 for 90 days. Something we can be very proud of, and please, it's called goodpill.org. Please spread the word. And there's only about a 5-minute honor system to sign up and say you're needy. So please let your constituents know rather than go without their medications. Otherwise, these are medicines that would be destroyed. So what's happened? They are so successful. This is one of only 2 programs like this across the country. It's totally mail order. They are a regular pharmacy, meeting all of the regulations and all for a pharmacy. And they have grown so much, they have now had to move again, and they needed some extra help. So here's what. The bill seems complicated. It's not. It gives them 2 more pharmacy technicians to work for them, 2 more than usually a pharmacy can have. It also makes it very clear that there are people that are drug reverse distributors that go around collecting these medicines, that they need to work with our pharmacy and to try to help them get more medicines to donate. It clarifies that if a nursing home, a big nursing home, donates medicine, it's not wholesaling. It also clarifies that this is not a pharmacy that carries all medicines. They do not do injectables, they do not do narcotics, and they don't have to be a full flexi. And one of the biggest things it does is, since they're getting donated medicines, if they get a prescription for 500 milligrams of an antibiotic and all they have is that drug in 250 milligram capsules, the pharmacist can make the decision to give 2 of those to equal 500 milligrams without calling the physician, because they're doing this all over the state in the mail order. There was a section that somebody questioned about federal Title X recipients. That is talking about working in the pharmacy, working with places that fall under that, like it would be a clinic like the federally qualified health programs in our state, I believe, would work under federal Title X, and so that they would work together to make sure that low income, some of the lowest people get the medications. That is an explanation of what this does. It's a cleanup. They need it very badly. And I would ask for your federal consideration of House Bill 1072. And please pat yourself on the back for supporting. We're #1 in the nation, and other states are looking at this program. Mr. Speaker, if there are no questions, I'll yield the will.
You have a couple of questions.
I'll take a couple, Mr. Speaker.
Representing Park Cannon to your left has a question.
Okay,
Thank you,
Park.
Mr. Speaker. Do you yield?
Yes, I do.
Does this company provide access to mifepristone or misoprostol?
I would doubt it. I wouldn't think that those would be medications that would normally be in reclaimed medications. But I don't think so. I'll yield for one more.
Representative Newton has a question to your right.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just generally yield.
I will yield.
Thank you so much for this bill. It makes such a difference. I know that some part of this bill also expands what pharmacy techs in Georgia can do. Aren't they primarily used for inventory and still leaves the pharmacist open to do the counseling that's needed?
That's what they are. They're used to help with inventory. And this pharmacy does not get medicines all, delivered from them, all packed up. They may just get a box full of different medicines that have to be sorted, and that's why they need the extra techs.
Well, thank you for a bill that's going to help our pharmacists counsel people and spend more time with them and get it more affordably. Thank you, ma'am.
Well, thank you very much. Now, this is all mail order, so they don't, on this case, they don't interact with patients at all, except through the mail. But just having the extra hands to help them get medicines ready to mail out and everything is invaluable. Mr. Speaker, I would ask for everybody's favorable vote on House Bill 1072, and with that, I'll yield the will.
The lady has yielded the will. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? All members voted. If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the passage of House Bill 1072. The yeas are 165, the nay is 1. The bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 1054, 1054?
House Bill 1054 by Representative Neal of the 79th be entitled an act to amend Code Section 4013 2.1 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to signature on citation required, effective failure to sign, exemptions for out-of-state drivers, and electronic capture of signature. This bill having referred to the Committee on Motor Vehicles, that committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Chair recognizes the lady from down in Clayton County, Representative Yasmin Neal, to present the bill.
Thank you to the Speaker. Thank you to this body. I present to you House Bill 1054, the traffic signature bill. Originally, this bill was designed to do a few things: reduce negative encounters between law enforcement and citizens, save taxpayer dollars, free up law enforcement for more high priority calls, ensure that everyone goes home at the end of the night safely. This year alone, we've already started to embrace measures like the bill that one of our chairmen presented, designed to reduce fingerprintable offenses and step away from taking citizens to jail for lower level traffic offenses. This bill addresses the moment of conflict between citizens on the road and officers. Even when I was policing, there was a practice that we would use, which would be to write refuse to sign on the ticket and send them on their way. Currently, the process is you get a ticket, you pay the fine, go to court, refuse to sign, you go to jail. What this bill does: get a ticket, refuse to sign, officer says no problem, writes refuses to sign on the ticket, and sends them on their way. No more arguments, no more fights, no more instances of officers risking their lives in an attempt to arrest someone for lower level traffic crimes. Everyone goes home safe at the end of the night. Now, you are not scot-free. Refusing to sign means that you are agreeing to show up to court. You cannot prepay for the ticket, and if you don't show, you will get a failure to appear by the judge, and your license will be suspended. But that is the trade-off, but a worthwhile one, instead of being taken to jail. Presently, if you get stopped in one part of the state, you can get a refuse to sign ticket if that's their policy and be on your way. On the contrary, if you get stopped in another part of the state that does not support that initiative, you can very well go to jail. This bill makes the practice uniform across the state. When it comes to saving taxpayer dollars, if I arrest you for a broken taillight versus if I take you to jail for murder, at the jail, the cost per head, per person is the same, if not more. Those that support this bill feel that it's a better practice to reserve the spots in the already overcrowded jails for the more heinous of crimes. Additionally, law enforcement heads have told me, we prefer this bill. We do not want our officers on the side of the road arguing and fighting with citizens over traffic tickets if a citizen does not agree. Now, make no mistake, you can still be arrested, to clarify that. But this codifies into law a new practice that officers have that they can choose as opposed to the alternative. All this bill does is codifies into law the ability for law enforcement to write refuse assign in the instances where they encounter a citizen who does not agree with a charge, and allows officers to take a safer route if they feel it would make them safe and get home at the end of the night. Thank you to my bipartisan co-sponsors, Chairman Hitchens, Matt Reeves, Representative Vance, Representative Holcomb. Thank you to my external supporters, the Georgia Sheriff's Association, Georgia Chiefs of Police, who have provided a letter of support, Georgia Municipal Association, Association of County Commissioners, Georgia Department of Public Safety, who the state troopers have stated to me they prefer this option instead of taking people to jail. And with that, I also have the support of the Georgia Department of Driver Services, which has confirmed we will not need to change the traffic citation. This will be no additional cost. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I yield for any questions.
You have a couple of questions. Representative Gladney to your left has a question. Representative Gladney.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentlelady yield the well?
I do.
Is it not true that as a professional who has a healthy respect for law enforcement and for public safety, and a mother of 3 adult sons, I have a lot of respect for this legislation and appreciate what it will do for my own peace of mind to know that my sons have an alternative.
Absolutely. Thank you, madam. Thank you for your support.
Thank you so much for bringing this legislation.
Absolutely.
Representative Kennard to your left has a question.
Does the lady yield?
I do.
Isn't it true that all of our criminal justice resources are stretched thin because we have to spend so much time and energy on low-level offenses? We'd do better to redirect that toward the more heinous crimes?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Lady has one more and then one she'll need to take. Representative Reeves to your right out in front of you.
Does the gentlelady from Clayton County yield?
I do, for my friend.
Thank you. Is it not true that this bill de-escalates conflict between law enforcement and criminal defendants on the roadside in a way that does not compromise public safety or guilt or innocence of the defendant and is merely a clerical matter?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And that is indeed true. Thank you, sir. And thank you for your support.
Lady, yield for one more.
Absolutely.
I think this gentleman knows a little bit about what we're talking about, as the lady does as well. So I want to recognize Chairman Bill Hitchens for a question.
Will the lady yield?
Absolutely.
Is it not true that Georgia has reciprocity with every other state in the country? And if you don't, if you sign the ticket and you don't come back, it's a misdemeanor, but you lose your driver's license. They come back and they give it to the Department of Driver Services, and you lose your license until the case is adjudicated.
Absolutely. And I know the gentleman absolutely knows of what he speaks.
You did a great job explaining the bill, I can tell you that. It's
Thank you,
hard to
Mr.
legislate
Speaker.
common sense, but you're doing that. So
Thank you, Mr.
you have
Speaker.
no further questions.
If I have no further questions, I appreciate your favorable consideration of House Bill 1054.
Thank you, Representative Neal. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee's substitute? Chair hears none. The committee's substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? For what purpose is Representative Park Cannon rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Is it not true there are many members of the Atlanta delegation who are thinking about Deacon Johnny Holloman on this vote in support of this bill?
Common sense, I think you're right. For what purpose is Representative Holly rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Mr. Speaker, is it not true that we are all just appreciative of the role that the sponsor of this bill has taken on, especially for individuals like Johnny Holloman, so many who have given their lives unnecessarily, and officers who have their lives being challenged, and we just appreciate the efforts of this sponsor of this bill.
Sponsor's done a really good job. Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the passage of House Bill 1054. The yeas are 156, the nays are 10. The bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 472? 472. Congratulations.
House Bill 472 by Representative Crowe, the 118th and others to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 2 of Title 47 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to the Employees Retirement System of Georgia so as to allow sworn law enforcement officers serving in and the Commissioner and the Deputy Commissioner of the Motor Carrier Compliance Division and the Capitol Police Division of the Department of Public Safety to be eligible for regular retirement benefits. This bill having referred to the Committee on Retirement. That committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Representative Clint Crowe is recognized to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, House Bill 472, currently in its form, what it does is it takes the Motor Carrier Compliance Division and Capitol Police Division of the Department of Public Safety and brings parity with respect to line of duty disability benefits with the other division of the Department of Public Safety, that being the Uniform Patrol Division or Georgia State Patrol, also DNR and GBI, all have the same line of duty disability benefits, and those benefits would be given to the Motor Carrier Compliance Division and Capitol Police Division as well. This bill originally would reduce their retirement age to 55 to match those others, but that's no longer part of this bill. So now all it does is bring parity to the line of duty disability benefits for the MCCD and Capitol Police Division. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I will be happy to answer any questions.
Gentleman has no questions.
All right, I'll yield the will. Thank you.
Gentleman has yielded the will. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee substitute? The chair hears none. The committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the passage of House Bill 472. The yeas are 168. The nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 907? 907.
House Bill 907 by Representative Franklin of the 160th and others to be entitled an act to amend Article 4, Chapter 6 of Title 40 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to right-of-way for operators of motor vehicles so as to revise responsibilities of motor vehicle operators when encountering a funeral procession on a two-lane highway. This bill having referred to the Committee on Motor Vehicles. That committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
The gentleman from down there in Statesboro that represents Bullock County and Bryan County is recognized to present the bill. Representative Franklin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill that I'm going to present to you is, I was really shocked to find out that it was not already a law, but it's a motor vehicle bill in regards to funeral processions on a two-way road, oncoming traffic. That traffic just needs to pull over on the side of the road until the procession is passed. And that's the extent of the bill. Mr. Speaker, I'll answer any questions.
You have one question. You have no questions.
I ask your favorable consideration. Thank you. I yield the will.
You did a great job. The gentleman has yielded the will. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee substitute? The chair hears none. The committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? For what purposes represent these? You turned your light off? For what purposes Representative Stinson rise?
Parliamentary procedure, Mr. Speaker.
How about an inquiry?
Inquiry.
We'll take that. Parliamentary inquiry, you're recognized for one of those.
I'm sorry. Inquiry. Is it not true, Mr. Speaker, that I support this legislation because it is so very important that as we are, all of us that are in the funeral industry are taking families from services to cemeteries, that it's important for everyone to slow down and respect the families that are in sorrow at that time. Is that not true, Mr. Speaker?
The lady knows of what she speaks.
Thank you.
Safe and respectful. I think that's it. All members voted. If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the passage of the bill. The yeas are 100 on the passage of House Bill 907. The yeas are 169. The nays are 1. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 1235, 1235.
House Bill 1235 by Representative Meeks of the 178th and others to be entitled an act to amend Title 40 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated related motor vehicles and traffic so as to provide for vehicle registration of special mobile equipment that have self-propelled cranes in order to authorize operation of such upon public highways. This bill having referred to the Committee on Motor Vehicles, that committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Chairman Meeks is recognized to present the bill. Chairman Meeks.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, House Bill 1235 I bring to you today, which is just really clarifying language and establishing policy across our state. Late last year, we had some discrepancies on how some taxing agencies or tag and title offices in local communities were handling the registration of these big 50-ton cranes that move up and down our highways to construction sites. So essentially what it does, it just defines cranes as special mobile equipment, changes nothing else, and allows them to receive a tag and a title after the purchase of that equipment. That's the bill, Mr. Speaker. We'll yield for any questions.
You have no questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the will and ask for your favorable consideration of House Bill 1235.
The gentleman has yielded the will. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee substitute? Chair hears none. The committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those will oppose will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the passage of House Bill 1235. The yeas are 166. The nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 1193, 1193?
House Bill 1193 by Representative McDonald of the 26th and others to be entitled an act to amend Title 40 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to motor vehicles and traffic so as to require the operation of flashing or revolving amber lights upon certain vehicles. This bill having referred to the Committee on Motor Vehicles, that committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Governor's Floor Leader, Representative McDonald, is recognized to present the bill. You're from Forsyth County, right? Yes, sir. The gentleman from up in Forsyth recognized to present the bill.
Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House, I bring to you House Bill 1193. It's brought by the Department of Public Safety. This bill is abolishing the amber light permit that's been for decades that you had to apply for with the Department of Public Safety. This bill is now, we're going to define who has to use the amber light permit instead of requiring them to apply for the amber light permit. For decades, it's been costing $2 for one to apply for this permit, but the cost of doing business this day and time with inflation and the U.S. Postal Service is costing about $5.25 for Department of Public Safety to produce and send this back to the individual. So now we're going to define who needs to use it when moving equipment, tow trucks around the state of Georgia. And this is what the bill says. Mr. Speaker, I yield the well.
You have no questions. The gentleman has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? All members voted. If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the passage of House Bill 1193, the yeas are 161, the nay is 1. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 1001, 1001?
House Bill 1001 by Representative Perkle, 169th, and others to be entitled an act to amend Article 2, Chapter 5 of Title 40 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to issuance, expiration, and renewal of driver's licenses so as to provide that presentation of a driver's license in certain electronic format satisfies the requirements to possess a driver's license while operating a motor vehicle. This bill having referred to the Committee on Motor Vehicles, that committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Chairman Clay Perkle is recognized to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So I bring for you consideration HB 1001. Sometimes it helps to know where these bills come from. So several weeks ago, I went home to check on my wife and farm after storms came through South Georgia. I got up early the next morning to come back up here to work. And about halfway here, I realized that I'd left my billfold and my work breeches. I had it's got my credit card, it's got my driver's license and everything, but I've got a credit card on my phone, and I happen to think I've got a state-issued digital driver's license on my phone. I and approximately 300,000 Georgians have this that I can actually use to go to Atlanta Hartsfield, get on an airplane, and go to our nation's capital or anywhere in the world with just this digital license that is issued by the state of Georgia. This bill simply adds shall from may to take the ambiguity out of the law that the display of a state-issued digital driver's license fulfills the state requirement to have a copy of your driver's license with you at all times. You have not consented to a search of the device if you display this electronic license. I think it's a great bill, and I'd love a green on it. And I'll yield the bill. Thank you, sir.
You had some questions, my bad. I'm sorry. Would you take a question?
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
I apologize to the members. Representative Anulowicz to your left has a question.
Does the gentleman yield?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know when we'll have a bill where I can also use this at the Publix when I need to purchase something or persuade them, convince them, because they never believe that I'm over 18?
And to the lady, I absolutely agree with him.
You need to carry your birth certificate along with you, obviously. Representative Gamble to your right out front has a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
Yes, sir, I do.
On a more serious note, and I appreciate you bringing this bill, plan to vote yes, but will you just confirm that it is not the goal to mandate any of our constituents or residents in the state to have a digital ID, and that is not the direction that this bill is trying to go in?
Absolutely not. You are correct.
Thank you.
Representative Jasmine Clark to your left has a question. The gentleman will yield.
Yes, sir. I'll yield for one more.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
Yes, ma'am.
Does this bill also allow for you to use a driver's license that you've taken a picture of?
No, ma'am.
Or it has to specifically be the app?
No, ma'am. It's got to be officially from the Department of Driver Service. So I have in the past, it's not the first time I've left my billfold in my other breeches. And so I have in the past, I have taken a copy of it, but that is not official. You need to go online to get the official copy in order to comply with this section. So, Mr. Speaker, I thank the members, and I thank you.
You had one more question. Representative Douglas has a question if the chairman would yield.
Absolutely, yes,
Gentleman's
sir.
recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
Yes, sir.
For us up here in the city, for clarity, I understood that you said britches. Can you clear it up for us up here in the city what britches mean?
So the gentleman from the coast probably will come and speak to the bill. He knows exactly what britches are. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the will.
I was just impressed you had more than one pair. That's all I cared about. Well, that was the good stuff, too. The gentleman has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee's substitute? The chair hears none. The committee's substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? For what purpose is Representative Jason Ridley rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Mr. Speaker, is it not true that the gentleman from the 169th left his billfold in his breeches because his wife really wears the breeches?
Well, if I were a betting man, I'd bet with you on that one. For what purpose does Representative Gladney rise?
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Speaker.
State your inquiry, Representative.
Is it not true that as the former director of Motor Vehicle Registration Services, I am aware that this legislation will prove to be a very expedient process for the residents of the state of Georgia, them having an opportunity to use the kiosk as
an additional resource to acquire their registration, in addition to possibly also getting their driver's license, sir.
I'm sure the lady's background allows her to be expert and have a very strong, true opinion. So thank you for your inquiry.
Thank you very much, sir.
For what purposes Representative Lisa Campbell rise?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Isn't it true that on this Equal Rights Amendment Day, in the times of many of our mothers, many women were not allowed to wear their breeches? And we're so excited today that we can wear our breeches and support this bill.
I think the lady knows we've established breeches are a good thing. So we'll move. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee substitute? The chair hears none. The committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And the clerk will unlock the machine. I got hung up on that britches stuff. We've already voted on that. I'm glad to educate all you city people about britches. With that, on the passage of House Bill, clerk needs to lock the machine. What time is it? It's dinner time. That's what time it is. It's not lunchtime. On the passage of House Bill 1001, the yeas are 168, the nays are 1. The bill having received the requisite constitutional majority is therefore passed. Boy, I said that pretty quick when I didn't need to say it, didn't I? Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 1150?
House Bill 1150 by Representative Collins, the 71st, to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 4873.1 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to tinting of windows or windshields of motor vehicles so as to provide that fingerprints shall not be obtained for offenses relating to operating of a motor vehicle when authorized levels of window or windshield tint. This bill having referred to the Committee on Motor Vehicles, that committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Let's give our attention to the gentleman in the well, Chairman Collins, who's going to present the bill, and I'm going to try to do the same, Chairman Collins, so I can keep up here. Chairman Collins.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I bring to you today House Bill 1150. This was a bill that came to me from the chairman of the Ag Committee. He made a phone call to me back in the interim and said that there was a piece of legislation we need to look at, and it was simply that violators of the window tint law in our state, the Attorney General's office had put this under a fingerprintable offense probably 4 decades ago. So if someone is pulled over and issued a traffic citation for violating the window tint laws in our state, they had to be fingerprinted. So talk to the Attorney General's office, and yes, that was the case. I don't know of any jurisdiction in the state that was actually fingerprinting these violators. So talk with the Sheriff's Association. We've drafted some legislation, and this just simply removes that as a fingerprintable charge here in our state. Very simple bill, cleans up some language that needed to be cleaned up. AG's office, really didn't have an opinion on it. They didn't want to remove it from the fingerprintable offense list without legislation. So, ladies and gentlemen, here it is for your favorable consideration. I'll stand for any questions that.
The gentleman has a couple of questions.
Okay.
Chairman Parsons to your left has a question.
Thank you, Speaker. The gentleman yield?
Yes, sir.
Just a question. Isn't it true that I didn't hear any of the testimony in the committee this came out of? I didn't hear any testimony one way or the other. But I respect the fact that the committee's come up with this decision to pass this with a do pass recommendation. But isn't it also true, if you would take another question, that I did hear the presentation by the late Representative Calvin Hill of Cherokee County when he passed this bill that actually made that not a felony, but a violation, probably back 12, 14, 15 years ago at least. And that he, in fact, was among businesses he had was a business to install these, but he still felt that having these window, what do you call it, the vinyl, whatever on them, was a serious enough issue that it should be a felony. In particular, protect law enforcement when vehicles are pulled over and they can't even see who's inside or what they have a weapon or whatever. So I would just ask, my question, I guess, isn't it strange, isn't it true that I find it strange that somebody who is trying to hide their identity to begin with, we would now allow them to hide their identity further by not even fingerprinting them if they're actually guilty of this offense?
Well, thank you for the question. We're not changing the fact that it's still a misdemeanor. It's always been a misdemeanor. There's no felony charge there.
The gentleman yield for another question.
If you yield for
Certainly, go ahead.
I guess I'm still not clear though why that if somebody's trying to avoid being identified, and even to see what's in their car, I still don't see a good. If you could explain to me a good reason though why we should not fingerprint them. I guess I'm just missing that. What the connection is? Why they should not be fingerprinted? If you could.
Well,
and that's my final question.
I can only speak for my opinion to my friend. It is a misdemeanor charge. It's not a felony charge. And, to be quite honest with you, in my opinion, and this is my opinion alone, these charges are not being done correctly if you're not fingerprinting people. And I don't know any jurisdiction in the state that's going to take in someone for a misdemeanor violation to fingerprint them. So that's why this legislation is before you here today.
Gentleman yield for another question to your right. Chairman Dickey.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Gentleman yield.
To my friend, yes.
Thank you for bringing this bill, and thank you for that explanation you just gave, Chairman Parsons. That's exactly why our local sheriffs contacted me during the year to bring this bill. It was having to take someone in for fingerprinting was a deterrent to writing these tickets, try to get for window tinting. And so I think removing the fingerprinting will encourage our local law enforcement to do a better job in enforcing this misdemeanor that happens. So thank you for the bill. I think it'll be a improvement. The sheriffs want this bill. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Gentleman has no further questions.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would yield the will and ask your favorable consideration to House Bill 1150. Has nothing to do with britches.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? All members voted. If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the passage of House Bill 1150, the yeas are 168, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Members, if I can have your attention for 1 second, I want to introduce you to a visitor to this Capitol and to our state. This President Pro Tem of the Nevada Senate, Senator Pat Spearman, is here. Her district includes the site of the Super Bowl. And she makes about as much as we do, so she couldn't afford that thousands of dollars worth of. So we're welcome to Atlanta, welcome to Georgia. We're glad to have you, and we appreciate your service as well. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 1183,
House Bill 1183 by Representative Dempsey of the 13th and others to be entitled an act to amend Part 3 of Article 16 of Chapter 2, Title 20 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to student health in elementary and secondary education, so as to require local school systems to provide certain information to parents and guardians of students in grades 6 through 12 on Type 1 and Type 2 diabetes. This bill having referred to the Committee on Public Health, that committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Chair Lady Dempsey is recognized to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I know we're all getting hungry, so I'm going to go a little bit quick here, but I want y'all to know how important this is. It will be important for each of you when you go home that we did this actually. HB 1183, the purpose of this is to increase awareness about type 1 and type 2 diabetes. There are now simple blood screening tests that family members and relatives of someone with type 1 diabetes can take to determine their risk of developing the disease during their lifetime. By raising parental awareness of type 1 diabetes, we can help mitigate those risks of dangerous complications that often are present at the time of diagnosis, like diabetic ketoacidosis, or DKA. Should this legislation help prevent one case of DKA in a child, a sometimes fatal but always costly life-altering complication, our work is well done here this year. Type 2 diabetes is also a consequential change for families in our healthcare system, presenting at a younger and younger age. That detection will help us save lives and help people prevent having a heart attack, stroke, kidney failure, or blindness. HB 1183 amends the current 6 through 12 education code, adding that if a local school board of education provides health issue information, it will also provide information about type 1 and type 2 diabetes. The materials are non-copyrighted and available for download free of charge. Mr. Speaker, that is this measure. If there are any questions, I will take them. If not, I will yield the well and ask everyone to please support it.
Lady has a couple of questions. Representative Howard to your left, all the way in the back.
Yeah.
Representative Charlton Howard.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the lady yield?
I do.
Isn't it true that early detection of diabetes, especially in school-age children, will also lower the impact of kidney failure, especially in its effect on the African-American community?
The gentleman knows of what he speaks. It absolutely will.
Does the lady further yield?
Yes, I do.
Isn't it also true that there is a clinical study taking place at Augusta University to detect a new gene that points to the early detection of kidney failure?
I know that you know all about that study. Thank you.
Representative Barnes has a question. The lady will yield.
Yes.
Representative Barnes. To
Thank
your left.
you. Parliamentary inquiry. Does the lady
Do you have a
yield?
question?
Yes.
Yes.
Is it not true that type 1 diabetes is a genetic condition that exists sometimes from birth?
It does. So the earlier we can detect that, the better.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Representative Jasmine Clark to your left has a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentlelady yield?
I do.
Thank you for bringing this bill. Just to clarify, when we talk about risk factors for type 1 diabetes, since it is genetic, would that be what is presented in that material? I'm just curious as to what the risk factors for type 1 are, because it's very different than type 2.
So the information that we will be asking to be distributed is to be very thorough. It's actually on the CDC website, so they will be downloading it from there, making it available on their school websites. It is just simply to educate as much as we possibly can and encourage people to be tested and follow that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lady has no further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well and ask for your favorable support.
Good job. The lady has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the passage of House Bill 1183. The yeas are 167. The nay is 1. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption of House Bill 1069?
House Bill 1069 by Representative Cannon of the 172nd and others, to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 48.5, 7.5 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated, relating to the assessment of standing timber, penalty for failure to timely report, and effective reduction of property tax digest and supplemental assessment. This bill having referred to the Committee on Ways and Means, that committee recommends that this bill do pass.
The gentleman from down in South Georgia, Moultrie, Georgia, Representative Chaz Cannon, is recognized to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I won't be as long as I was yesterday, and I won't mention the word britches. I actually just did, but I bring you House Bill 1069 LC 500692. This is a department-requested bill that allows the Georgia Forestry Commission to have access to PT-283T form upon request. This form is officially titled Report of Timber Sale or Harvest, and it's the state form provided to county tax assessors after the completion of a timber harvest. One of the roles of the Forestry Commission is to investigate timber theft, and the Commission uses this form, the PT-283T form, to ensure that the timber harvest data that's reported to a local tax assessor's office to include the revenue and compensation for the timber matches up with the information provided to the landowner. This is a basic checks and balance policy. Normally, the PT-283T form is only disclosed to local tax officials, so the Forestry Commission has to retrieve this data through a subpoena or a court order. However, local tax assessors have indicated that an official request by the Forestry Commission would certainly streamline the process and make it more efficient. So again, department requested bill streamlines the timber investigation process and passed unanimously out of Ways and Means. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I will yield for questions.
You have a question to your right. Representative McDonald knows a lot about timber. He wants to ask a question.
Does the gentleman yield?
No. I yield.
With this bill, will there be a report that will be issued on how many trees that this killed to add 5 words into this bill?
No.
Well, I was going to ask you to yield the well, but we will. This gentleman does know something about this subject. Chairman Corbett, to your right, has a question. If the gentleman will yield.
I will yield, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the
Gentleman
gentleman yield?
Yes, sir.
Is it not true that trees are one of the best renewable resources that the state of Georgia has? So if we use a few trees here, we're replacing more than we cut down every day.
The gentleman knows of what he speaks.
I'm not sure about those 2 questions, but the gentleman has no more questions.
Mr. Speaker, I yield the well.
Good move. They certainly planted a seed in your mind, and you yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? All members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the passage of House Bill 1069, the yeas are 167, the nay is 1. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 1041?
House Bill 1041 by Representative Stevens, the 164th, and others, to be titled an act to amend Code Section 5755 of the Official Code of Georgia, annotated.
Proceed, Mr. Clerk.
To be entitled an act to amend Code Section 50-7-55 of the Official Code of Georgia, annotated, relating to creation of the Savannah, Georgia Convention Center Authority. This bill has been referred to the Committee on Economic Development and Tourism. That committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Chairman of Tourism and Economic Development is recognized to present this bill. Chairman Ron Stevens.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, I bring to you House Bill 1041. This bill is for the Savannah Convention Center. If it looks familiar to you, this is exactly what we did for the World Congress Center to allow those folks to expand. The Savannah Convention Center opened 24 years ago, and since then has generated millions of dollars in economic activity and local lodging taxes, I might add. The building was so successful that the legislature and the governor put $276 million in expansion, doubling its size. The expansion should be complete later this year. The convention center is a state-owned building on state-owned land and is governed by a state authority and is managed by another state authority, the World Congress Center. This brings me to House Bill 1041. The bill does two things. First, it raises the bonding capacity from $50 million to $400 million, exactly like the World Congress Center. Many of you have seen the new 975-room Cigna Hotel built next to the World Congress Center. For the newly expanded convention center, it'll reach its full potential if we can do the very same thing. This bonding capacity will be used to fund capital repairs and improvements of the existing 25-year-old building on the campus. Includes Riverwalk, for those of you that saw the cave-in, includes a Riverwalk in the building on the Savannah River. The bonds will be sold by the Convention Center Authority, and they will be secured by our hotel motel tax revenue and cash reserves. The second thing that it does is it establishes condemnation powers important for only public property, not for private property. Other state authorities have this, like, if you will, the World Congress Center has this in Stone Mountain, and we were surprised that we didn't have it as well. This bill is sponsored by all 6 of the Chatham County delegation members and passed out of committee unanimously. And Mr. Speaker, I'll ask for unanimous consent that you guys vote for the same bill that we have passed for the World Congress Center so that we can move this forward and get us a hotel on the island. I'll answer any questions.
The gentleman has a couple of questions.
Sure.
Representative Al Williams, I think you know where he sits, is recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the gentleman yield?
To my dean, yes, sir.
Is it not true, in spite of it not being in Midway, it will be of great economic advantage to the entire region, particularly because of a little plant just west of you? Is that not so?
The gentleman knows of what he speaks, and it is, the gentleman knows of what he speaks.
Mr. Chairman, you yield for one more.
Yes, sir.
Chairman Petrie, to your left. Y'all sit pretty close together, but go ahead.
Thank you,
Gentleman's
Mr. Speaker.
recognized for a
Does my
question.
good friend yield?
Yes, sir.
Chairman, is it not true that the funds to operate the convention center are paid for by the county and the 5 different cities of Chatham County through hotel and motel taxes?
The gentleman's correct, and thank you for the question. And that is also, these are revenue bonds. They're backed by the very revenue that the gentleman just spoke of. Mr. Speaker, I'll ask for your favorable consideration on this bill, and I'll yield the well.
Gentlemen, yield the will. All of y'all that asked questions and spoke brought some clarity, so thank you for that. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? All members voted. If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the passage of House Bill 1041. The yeas are 161, the nay is 1. The bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 994? 994.
House Bill 994 by Representative Powell of the 33rd and others to be entitled an act to amend Title 51 and 52 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to torts and waters of the state ports and watercraft respectively so as to revise liability for the negligent operation of a vessel. This bill having referred to the Committee on Insurance, that committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Well, Mr. Chairman, this bill would complete the rules calendar. Well, you can do that. It'll be a first, but we'll give you a chance. Chairman Powell is recognized to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and ladies and gentlemen. I bring to you this afternoon House Bill 994. From a fellow who lives up on the lake, I'm pretty close to the recreational industry. And in Georgia, I want to preface this, in Georgia, recreation means a lot. We've got a lot of beautiful lakes in this state, none more beautiful than Lake Hartwell. But the marinas in this state lease boats to those folks who are lucky enough not to be able to afford their own boat. What we have is a situation in this state that the boat rental business and the marinas, they're being put out of business because of the liability. Georgia is one of 3 states that has vicarious liability to the delivery service that rents a boat. Now you would think that those people, the operators that lease the boat, would be liable for their own errors if there's a tort or something that happens. But no, the owner of the boat is the one that it bears full responsibility. This is about put these folks out of business. As I'd said, we're one of 3 states that has this, and we're making a change. And I thought this was going to be an easy bill. I said, you know, when I was brought this, I said, well, what we'll do is we'll just treat it like car rentals at the airport. You know, well, that was a mistake because came to find out that no insurance company offers spot insurance in the state of Georgia. Kind of an interesting process. So what we've done, we've eliminated vicarious liability. We've required that the marinas will have a $250,000 for an individual and $500,000 cumulative total on incidences. They'll be responsible for any liability that's caused by their emissions. Say a faulty boat, whether they know or didn't know. They've got to check out the operator to be sure they don't rent it to a bunch of college boys showing up at the lake with a pickup truck full of beer. They got to be sure that these people, that if they qualify, they need to have that boater safety course. If Al Williams shows up, they know that's a no-no right off the bat. So, you know, it's basically a common sense bill, and they have to clearly post to the people who lease a boat that you're responsible for your own liability. That, Mr. Speaker, is what this does, and I think that's about the quickest that I can be, and I'll be glad to answer questions, but
The gentleman has a question. Representative Jasmine Clark to your left has a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
Yes, ma'am.
So does anything in this bill require the boat operator, so the person renting or leasing the boat, to have some type of insurance like what you would with when you rent a car?
I don't think they can get insurance. We went through Chairman Tarbin's subcommittee, Chairman Lunson's committee. You know, we thought that folks might be able to, maybe they can adapt their homeowner's liability with an umbrella coverage, but that's between them and their insurance companies.
So does
But
the
as far as a spot insurance, that's not offered right now.
So does the gentleman further yield?
Yes, ma'am.
So if the person operating the boat does something and it is deemed that it is their fault, then they're on the hook for maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars of damage to a boat, or maybe tens of thousands of dollars of damage to a boat, and there's no way to insure them and their operation of the boat in the state of Georgia right now.
I think
Just
you're pretty well
clarifying.
right about that.
All right. Thank you.
And I would be remiss if I didn't say there's some thanks to give. I'd mentioned the two chairmans, Tarbin and Lunston, but I'll also have to give credit to GTLA, the trial lawyers. They actually stood in and agreed with the insurance industry that this is quite the phenomena. Shocked me to death, too, to tell you the truth. So I say kudos to them, but this is about saving an industry in the state that brings in untold amount of revenue and recreation to the state of Georgia. Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman has one more question. Chairman Deloach, to your right, has a question. Your last question. To your extreme right, Chairman Deloach.
The gentleman yield.
Yes, sir.
Isn't it true that with this bill, one that rents a boat is in the same condition as far as requiring insurance as one who owns a boat? There's no requirement in the state of Georgia for a boat owner to have liability insurance. Is that true, Mr. Chairman?
That is true. There's only two required insurances in the state, and that's liability on a car and workers' comp if you got over 3 employees.
The gentleman has no further questions.
Mr. Speaker, I thank you, and I thank the good folks in here for their favorable support for the recreational industry, and go have lunch.
Thank you for presenting the bill, Mr. Chairman. He's yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee's substitute? The chair hears none. The committee's substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? All members voted. If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the passage of House Bill 994. The yeas are 163. The nay is 1. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. For what purpose does Chair Letty Houston rise?
Isn't it not true that the boat industry is the biggest industry in my district? And isn't it not true I tried to vote and my thing didn't vote? And that's
Well,
the biggest.
we thought you retired yesterday. Oh, you're still voting.
Yeah,
Excuse me,
okay.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
We'll see what we can do about that. I know you are a huge proponent of the boating industry, and you have one of the best boat manufacturers in this country in your district.
And isn't it not true in my district I have the largest boat building industry under one roof in the world?
If the lady so speaks and states, I know it's true. It's big. I know that. I've been there. We'll work with you on that. That completes the rules calendar. We have a couple of folks who would like to make a motion. For what purpose does Representative Jay Collins rise?
To make a motion,
State your motion, Mr. Chairman.
the House Bill 424 be recommitted to the Public Safety and Homeland Security Committee.
Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to HB 424?
House Bill 424 by Representative Vance of the 133rd to be entitled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 16 and Title 15 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to general provisions regarding sheriffs.
On the gentleman's motion that House Bill 424 be withdrawn from the calendar and recommitted to the Public Safety and Homeland Security Committee, is there objection? Hearing none, it is so ordered. For what purpose does Representative Brad Thomas rise?
To make a motion.
State your motion.
Motion to waive the rules to allow a bill to be read and assigned to committee read for the first time and assigned to committee.
Clerk will read the caption.
Unnumbered House Bill by Representative Thomas of the 21st to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 12 of Title 16 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to offenses against public health and morals so as to prohibit distribution of computer-generated obscene material depicting a child.
On the gentleman's motion that the rules of this House be temporarily suspended so a bill can be read for the first time and assigned to committee, is there objection? Judiciary non-civil. For what purpose does Chairman Bonner rise?
Make a motion.
State your motion.
I move the the rules of the House be temporarily suspended so a bill can be read for the first time and assigned to committee.
Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to a bill?
Unnumbered House Bill by Representative Bonner of the 73rd to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 22-164 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to local 5 mill share funds.
On the gentleman's motion that the rules of the House be temporarily suspended so a bill can be read for the first time and assigned to committee, is there objection? Education. For what purposes Chair Lady Mathiak rise?
To make a motion, sir.
State your motion.
To suspend the House rules to hear a bill for the first time and allow it to be assigned to a committee.
Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption?
Unnumbered House Bill by Representative Mathiak, the 74th, and others to be entitled an act to amend Part 1 of Article 1 of Chapter 18 and Title 45 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to state employees' health insurance plan.
On the lady's motion that the rules of the House be temporarily suspended so a bill can be read for the first time and assigned to committee, is there objection? Health. We're moving on to afternoon orders. I'm going to ask, we're going to begin the first afternoon order with a video that Representative Williams, if you'll come up, and Chairman Jackson requested to be shown. We had a little technical difficulty a couple of days ago. I'm going to ask all of you if you will hold your afternoon orders to as close to 1 minute as humanly possible, and I know it's possible. So at this time, we'll recognize Representative Williams. I don't see Chairman Jackson. Representative Al Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is what was left out the other day, and Representative Jackson should be here shortly, but please.
Martin Luther King has impacted my life today tremendously.
Not just my life, not just the black community, but all communities.
The time is always right to do what's right.
The time is always right to do what's right.
The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands at
times of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy.
Darkness cannot drive out darkness.
Only light can do that.
Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that.
Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter.
Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
The impact today, it's an internal flame that he drives through each person and how we live our lives every day.
Faith is taking the first step, even when you don't see the whole staircase.
He's always within us. So if you look at me and you say Kenny Smith, I say, no, I'm Dr. Martin Luther King.
Share a dream. Share a dream.
Go ahead, Mike. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the NBA partnering with Good for All for the dream, keeping the dream alive. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. And thanks to our technical staff and messenger and the messenger for making sure we got that important video in. Representative Okoye is recognized for an afternoon order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, in this month of Black History, I want to tell you about the first black person to be elected to the U.S. Congress from Georgia. He was from Macon. Jefferson Long was elected to the U.S. House in 1870. He was born in Knoxville and died in Macon. He was born in 1836, died in Macon in 1901. So it wasn't until 1972 when the next black person was elected to the U.S. Congress. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you for listening, colleagues.
Thank you, Representative. Chairman Stevens and Representative Gamble recognized for an afternoon order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We've got another casualty today as we begin this wave of pharmacy closings around your neighborhoods as a result of the PBM and the state merit benefit that's our own insurance. But I thought I'd just step aside and let Representative Gamble talk about a very, very old pharmacy in his district, over 100 years old. Was the first pharmacy back in the 1800s that had the Coca-Cola sign painted on the side of it. That's on this pharmacy that will be closing its doors forever.
Thank you, Chairman Stevens. So Young Brothers Pharmacy in Cartersville, Georgia is an institution of businesses in downtown, right there by the railroad tracks. For those of you who have been to Cartersville, you've seen it, you've driven right by it. It's mentioned it does have the state's oldest outdoor advertising for Coca-Cola. And sadly, that pharmacy is another casualty to this issue. And we wanted to share this morning about what's going on so that you would be aware.
Thank you, gentlemen. Representative Dewey McLean, members, give the gentleman in the well your attention. I'm going to ask you to stand.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You know, House members and colleagues, last Wednesday was a real sad day for the Falcon family and the UCLA Bruin family, as well as most of us that knew our former teammate, Fulton Kuykendall. Fulton passed on last Wednesday. He was really a real throwback player if you could look at the picture. I mean, you don't see people that dress that way very much. And, you know, but he had names like when I came from UCLA, they called him Captain Crazy, which, you know, he played that way. Captain Cuckoo, which is the name I gave him. And the one that I thought was really bad was the Kamikaze Kid, because he played hard, really hard, which all said a lot about Fulton as a player and as a friend. And so at this moment, I would ask the House to keep his wife, Sherry, of 44 years, as well as his son, Trent, in prayer. And we can just have a moment of silence. I appreciate that very much. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Quite a football player. Members, if you remain standing, I'm going to recognize Representative Stinson, Representative Huddleston, Representative Vance Smith, Representative Buckner for another remembrance.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think we had a picture.
We didn't get it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker and colleagues. We stand in this afternoon asking for your prayers and support for Dr. Willie T. Edmondson, Mayor of LaGrange, Georgia. Will be funeralized on today in LaGrange. Dr. Edmondson, for those of you that attended my late husband's service, Darrell Bentley, he spoke at the services. He served this state with the State Funeral Service Board for several years. He was really big in the funeral industry, Georgia Funeral Service Practitioners Association, and he contributed so much to his beloved city of LaGrange and to the state of Georgia. So I want to pause for a moment and let one of the members from LaGrange to come forward and share if you would like to say something at this time.
Mayor Willie, he was a great guy. He never missed. When he saw you in the room, he was going to speak to you. He was real excited about being mayor of LaGrange, just a real outgoing person, so he will truly be missed. And I'd appreciate y'all if we give him a moment of silence. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I hope we'll all remember the families of both of those gentlemen we just honored. Representative Hughley, you recognized for an afternoon order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House. She said, "Ain't I a woman?" Her name was Sojourner Truth, and she spoke these words at the Women's Convention in 1851. And since that time, black women have been answering the question, "Ain't I a woman?" She said that if God made a woman strong enough to turn the world upside down, then all of us together can put it back right again. So today I stand and salute bold, beautiful, courageous, brilliant, and resilient black women of faith. And I only have a second, so I'm going to call the roll. Ida B. Wells, Fannie Lou Hamer, Rosa Parks, Susan King Taylor, Katherine Johnson, Shirley Chisholm, Barbara Jordan, Michelle Obama, Grace Towns Hamilton, Georgiana Sinkfield, Stacey Abrams, Kamala Harris, Ketanji Brown Jackson, Letitia James, and Fannie Willis. And our story has yet to be told.
Representative Trey Kelly is recognized to salute some champions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, members of the House. Over the weekend, Rockmart High School took 12 athletes to the state wrestling championships, and I'm proud to say that out of those 12, we had 9 end up on the podium. We had 5 state champions: Eli Bowman, Malachi Macedonio, Major Chambers, Garrett Pace, and Nazir Turner. And then we had 4 runners-up: Logan Opdyke, Hagan Sharp, Luke Clay, and Tyler Malone. And I'm also proud to say that for the first time in Rockmart's history, Audrey Sadler, the first female wrestler for Rockmart High School, made it to state this year. So we want to congratulate each and every one of them in Rockmart on their state championship. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Martinez and friends, recognized for a an afternoon order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I stand here today because most of you, if not all of you, are going to go visit this afternoon. Today is Restaurant Day at the Capitol. So I know most of you, if not all of you, are going to go visit one of these today. You know, there's over 23,000 restaurants, food and drink establishments in the great state of Georgia, and they generate $30.1 billion with the B dollars to our great state. The Georgia Restaurant Association is a dedicated advocacy group, and they provide a voice and education and awareness to our folks. So please welcome Casey Carpenter, also great restaurant owner in the great city of Dalton, and welcome every restaurant owner in the whole state of Georgia. If you want to say a few words, Casey.
Just come on down. I believe we're doing the Taste of Georgia, so come on down. Let's have a great evening.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well.
Gentlemen, have you the well. That is a great event, so let's join them. Representative from down in Valdosta, Representative Sharper, is recognized for an afternoon order.
All right, thank you, Speaker. I'm going to be brief. Some of the members of the Heritage Dinner can join me if they like. But we'll be having the 42nd Annual Heritage Dinner, Georgia Legislative Black Caucus, on tomorrow evening, Thursday, February 22nd. You can get there early to really support some of the vendors at 5, reception at 6, and the dinner will start promptly at 7 o'clock. It's going to be at the Georgia International Convention Center. We would like to see all of you guys here. We're going to have Otis Williams from the Temptations. Several people are going to be here. That's going to be giving awards. So please come and join us. We're going to have a great time. Travis Malloy from yesterday will be singing. Also, Jakayla Carr, the one that Mandisha brought as the speaker that day, that song, she's going to be there as well on Thursday evening to perform as well. So y'all come on out. Let's have a great time. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Sharper. Chair Lady Silcox is recognized for an afternoon order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just briefly, tomorrow is Alzheimer Awareness Day, so I'd like to encourage everybody to wear purple. Thank you.
We're in purple tomorrow. Chairman Jaspers, Chairman Rick Jaspers, Chairman of Transportation, that's you, recognized for an afternoon order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Too busy talking. On your desk, I hope you'll take time to look at a article that Senator Dolezal, the chairman of the Senate Transportation Committee, and I worked on pretty hard to talk about the investment in freight logistics in our state. You know, I applaud Governor Kemp and us, all of our members, for a $1.5 billion investment in transportation infrastructure this year. I think this is something you can put in your notebook to take home with, to use it when you talk to groups. I hope you take time to read it and enjoy it on the great work that we've done. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good work. That concludes our afternoon orders. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to a group of privileged resolutions?
Congratulating and commending Ashley Wilson for receiving the 2024 Yellow Roasted Nikki T. Randall Service Leader Award. Recognizing and commending Elder Henry Frazier Sr., recognizing and commending Charles D. Graham, Esquire, honoring the accomplishments of Natalie Talley Sweat, recognizing and commending Atlanta Metropolitan State College, recognizing and commending Dr. Maria Boynton, and recognizing March 7th, 2024 as Women in Radio Day at the State Capitol, recognizing and commending Lisa Nichols, and recognizing March 7th, 2024 as Women in Radio Day at the State Capitol, recognizing and commending Sharon Say, and recognizing March 7th, 2024 as Women in Radio Day at the State Capitol, recognizing and commending Minister Peter Burke, congratulating the DeKalb County School District and recognizing February 22nd, 2024 as DeKalb County School District Track and Field Day at the State Capitol, and recognizing and commending Matt Nave. And for other purposes, that completes the reading of the privileged resolutions.
Is there an objection to adopting the privileged resolutions? Chair here is none, and the resolutions are adopted. We're going to move on to announcements. Moving on to announcements. Chairman Corbett recognized for a very important announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It is a very important announcement. The Rural Caucus will be meeting in the Ag room across the street for lunch. Y'all come join us. Grilled chicken, roasted potatoes, mixed salad, and lemon pie. Come see.
I'm coming over there. Leader F. Stration recognized for an announcement.
On a competing lunch, Mr. Speaker, we have the committee chairman's lunch in room 403 upon adjournment here today. 403 upon adjournment. Thank you.
Chair Lady Dempsey is recognized for an announcement. Chair Lady Dempsey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. There are a lot of lunches. I want to tell y'all we've just about gone over the time, but Georgia Family Connection who we all have that in each and every county. They have a drop-by luncheon. You can pick up a box to go if they still have some downstairs in room 230. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Great organization. Chairman Tyler Paul Smith has, excuse me, you want to do it now or you want to wait? Chairman Tyler Paul Smith recognized for an announcement. If you do, you'll be by yourself if you come back.
Yes, sir, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, just wanted to announce that the full judiciary non-civil will meet at 8 a.m. in the morning in Capitol 132. Thank you.
Chairman Hatchett is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Appropriations Committee will meet tomorrow morning at 8 in room 341. We have a couple of resolutions to take up. Thank you.
Chairman Green is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The State Properties Committee will meet today at 2 p.m. in room 515. That's a change now, room 515. Y'all get there quickly and we can get out quickly. Thank you.
Chairman Chokus is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Small Business Development Committee members got to have an hour of extra sleep today, and I hope that beauty sleep worked. Anyway, we will be meeting at 3 p.m. today in 403, and we will be hearing from the Craft Brewers Association, and as I said yesterday, we may have to take a sample or two. Thank you very much.
Chairman Noel Williams is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Immediately upon adjournment, Banks and Banking will meet in CLOB at 406, immediately upon adjournment. Thank you.
Representative Vance Smith is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Resource Management Subcommittee of the Natural Resources Committee will meet at 2 o'clock in CLOB room 415. 415 at 2 o'clock. Appreciate all the members coming. Thank you.
Chairman Dickey is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Agriculture and Consumer Affairs will meet again in the morning, 606 CLOB, as we continue to look at some continue more bills. So thank you. In the morning, 9 o'clock.
Representative Viola Davis is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm happy to announce today is Midwife Day at the Capitol. So please join us in room 125 and help us celebrate Midwife Day.
Chairman Billy Mitchell recognized for an announcement. Thank you, Representative Davis.
The Democratic Caucus will meet tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Please note the time change, 8 a.m. in room 605. Breakfast will be served. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chairman Stevens recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today, after lunch, 1:30, the Public Finance and Policy Subcommittee on Appropriations will meet in 341, full committee to follow. Tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock in the morning, the House Economic Development and Tourism Committee will meet in 406 CLOB. Thank you.
Chairman Collins is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Public Safety and Homeland Security Committee will meet at 1:30. We're going to delay for 30 minutes. 1:30, 506 CLOB.
Representative Anderson recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Governmental Affairs will meet the full committee today in CLOB 606 at 3 p.m. Thank you.
Chair Lady Lynn Smith is recognized for an announcement.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to use the room 606 as well, CLOB, Natural Resource and Environment. It's meeting tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. We're throwing away around room numbers everywhere, but tomorrow morning, Natural Resources, 8 o'clock, 606 CLOB. Thank you.
Chairman Hawkins is recognized for an announcement. Chairman Hawkins.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Committee on Health will meet today at 2 o'clock, CLOB 406. Thank you.
Chairman Martin, recognized for an announcement.
To update the committees, the Higher Education Committee will meet in 606 at 1:30.
That completes our announcements. Now, this gentleman's aged 2 years and 2 days, so we announced his birthday yesterday. You look good to get old that fast. Representative Victor Anderson's birthday is today. We checked his birth certificate. It's today. If you have a page, we will be taking page photos as soon as we adjourn or as soon as we recess. So here we go. Listen closely as to the Majority Leader. Thank you for your patience and attention today. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that this House stand in recess until 4 p.m. and then stand adjourned until 9 a.m. on Thursday, February 22nd, 2024.
Okay, let me explain. I'll start at the bottom and go to the top. 9 a.m. is so we can come in tomorrow and tend to some bills that we need to tend to, and so we can get out of here and get y'all all home. And this afternoon, now you understand we'll be in recess till 4 p.m. Then we adjourn. We do not have to come back here. That occurs. The adjournment just occurs as we pass this motion. So that is our posture. On the motion of the Majority Leader, this House stands in recess until 4 p.m. today, at which time we will adjourn until Thursday, February the 22nd, 2024 at 9 a.m. All those in favor will say aye. All those opposed will say no. The ayes have it. This House will stand in recess until 4 p.m. today.